Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the VG Studio podcast. My name is Akro, and joining me today is Eunha. Uh,
Hello.
our other co hosts are missing because one is too busy with life and the other one is sick. Would you believe it? Another sick co
I
host.
swear every other week one of us is sick or
Yeah.
indisposed or something. Something's coming after us. I don't know, but
Yeah,
yes,
we might have a curse.
happy to be here.
But we have a very special guest today. Joining us today is a Gunpla builder, a customizer, a content creator, also a father and a husband. And for the first time, we have a therapist joining us. So please welcome Plamotherapist. Woo.
Yeah. Welcome.
Before we get started, I want to also add that I was sick last week too, which kind of pushed us back. So yeah, there's a bug going around with everybody.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
there was like a pretty bad flu going on, like I would say a couple months back or a couple weeks back. And I think like
Mhm.
everyone I knew got sick at one point.
Yeah,
So
'cause you were
Yeah,
sick, I was sick, and then yeah.
Jay is
I
sick.
felt really bad because I passed it on to my son and he got sick, and I was his first
Oh,
time getting sick. So
No.
I was like, okay, I can't do it this week, but I can do it next week, and we're good to go. So I'm glad to be here.
no, thank you
I
for
mean, I'm
coming.
glad you're feeling better. You sound
Mhm.
pretty healthy right now, so that's good to hear.
I'm excited. I think I'm running on some highs right now. So
Perfect. Well, let's start off with the question that we ask all the guests. Is what
Mhm.
makes you an ace pilot?
so I've been watching the episodes and I've been giving this a lot of thought, and I think my initial reaction is like, I don't think I'm an ace pilot, but I'm like, I feel like that's a cop out. So I think the answer that I came up with is that I always like to learn and I'm always constantly learning something new. And when it came to like Gunpla, when it came to content creation, when it comes to like photography, videography, customization, even trying to like 3D print, I'm just constantly trying to learn new things. And I think that just kind of translate even into like just what I do in my life is I'm always interested in learning new stuff. And sometimes my wife will ask a question. I'm like, oh yeah, there's an answer to that. And she's always just like, how do you know this shit? And like, yeah, so it's just because I just enjoy learning. And I think my big thing is I like learning because then I like sharing and teaching. So I think what makes me an ace pilot is I love to learn.
Are
That's an
you
amazing quality to have, yeah.
are you like the random facts guy? Like
I
you
am
just
the
read.
I am the random
Very
facts guy.
very nice.
I
Are
am
you
the
the
random
trivia
facts guy.
like, if we were to take you a trivia night, would it just be a blowout? You would wash the floor?
It depends because there are some subjects that I'm really good at, and there are some subjects that I'm like,
Okay.
I can't do. Like if you ask me
Mhm.
like pop culture stuff from like 2010 after, I'm done. But if you ask me like weird niche things from like the early 2000s and like old movies and like science
Okay.
stuff,
Mhm.
I'd be pretty good. Like my wife and I started watching Jeopardy, and we would watch like we were watching Ken Jennings's run when he was going on like a massive run. And there are some categories that like I could do all of the questions in it. And there's some categories that I'm like,
That's funny you bring it up because we will eventually do a Gunpla Jeopardy on this channel. So maybe you can come
oh
and
no.
compete and sweep the floor.
I'm gonna
Oh,
choke so hard on that. I know I'm gonna choke so hard.
Yeah. I mean, are you
that's crazy.
good with like Gunpla lore or Gundam lore? Like how?
No, I'm one of those guys that like, oh cool, big giant things to build, let's go,
Nice.
Robots fighting in space, cool, let me build it. And I always encourage people like, yeah, watch the series, like I got back into it with IBO. I think initially like, being someone who grew up in the States, you always start off with Wing, but like I got back into it with IBO in terms of watching. I love the Hathaway Flash movies. I got the P Bandai hat and like I
Uh,
rock that every once in a while. So I'm excited for the new movie. Even I haven't seen it yet. I'm excited.
Yeah.
is it out? It's coming out soon, no?
I think there's like
It's in
some
theaters.
theaters that have it, but
Uh,
not a lot.
Time to pirate it. No.
Well, I think it's gonna come out on Netflix because I know the first one came out
Oh.
on Netflix.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So
Then yeah. Can't. I
share
mean,
passwords, not pirate.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's
Share
set for
password.
North American release on May 15th,
Okay.
2026.
Okay. So you
Okay,
have some
that's
time.
super soon.
Nice. That was really soon. We'll see how it is.
Hope it's good. But that
Mhm,
actually is a perfect segue for the next question, which was how did you
Mhm.
get into Gundam and Gunpla?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, millennial kid, grew up with Gundam on Toonami with Gundam Wing. It's funny that when I was a kid, I was visiting my grandparents up in Oregon, and they had an exchange student from Japan. And when you're young, you don't realize that like, oh, anime and things like that are like from that country. So when they had an exchange student from Japan, I asked him, "Oh, do you know what Gundam is?" And he kind of laughed. He's like, "Yeah, I know what Gundam is." And so as he stayed with us, he got to practice English with me as a kid, and then my grandparents, we got to take him around. And so, as a thank you, he actually sent me my first Gunpla kit, which was an old, really old Shenlong Gundam.
Mm.
And I literally, at that age, I didn't have tools, so as anyone would imagine, I just snapped it off the runners and just put it
mhm.
together. And surprisingly, I didn't break pieces on a lot of the kits that I built like that. And I built a ton of kits like that.
Oh,
Mm. Okay. Do you still have that Shenlong?
I do not, because so
Ooh.
at about high school, I had to move like rooms, and so like at that time, like I was kind of like cleaning stuff up, and I hadn't built for a couple years because other interests, sports and things like that. And so straight up, I just took all the gunplay I had and just threw it in the trash. And getting back into it now, I'm just like,
oh no. Just like all the tears for every single kid.
It ha
A piece of
I
your soul you left behind in that garbage can.
but the fun thing is now is I have like a grail list of wanting to get some of those kits back. And I
yeah.
did get some
Mm,
of them, but I there's a couple of them that I'm still looking for, and I think if I can get those kits, I'll add it to the collection. But like the big thing is just like getting back into Gunpla. It was just like I was just getting all of the things that I just was starting to watch. I thought it was cool. But then now, like as I'm like getting older, like I got older, I got, you know, I'm not building as much because I've got other responsibilities. It's like, all right, let's pick very specific kits that I want for very
mhm.
specific reasons.
Yeah, being a little more selective with what you want because of
Yeah,
the time it takes, yeah.
and it's hard too because it's trying to find a balance between what I want to build for me and what I want to do for like the channel, what I want to put on for people
Mhm,
to watch, because I think like some kits are gonna have a lot more pull than others, and if I bust out a kit that like nobody's ever heard of because it's like 20 years old, it's gonna be hard to try to put that on a channel. But hey, maybe some people might want to see old kits like that. I mean, I'm starting on one of my older kits too. You can't see in the background, I'll grab it later. But um yeah, there's like some kits that I want to try to see how it does on the channel and see where it goes from there.
I mean, I'm excited. I think there's a
yeah,
lack of vintage kits uh on social media. But I get it because
mhm,
it's a lot of work. It's really hard to make them look good, but
I have kind of a funny take on that because it's a video that I'm working on, and I'll be more than happy to drop it here. But I think what Bandai needs to do is kind of like what I got me into this hobby is they need to bring back the high grade 1/100.
oh, okay. Like the
So like
old wing, like no grace, right? Is that what you're
mhm,
talking about?
no, they have like the high, like here, it's literally
okay.
high grade. It literally says high grade on the box. My headset can reach.
Oh, oh.
So like this is the one that I did a reel of recently just to play around with my camera, but like it
The
literally
Poggies,
says
yeah.
high
Okay,
grade on the
okay.
box. Yeah.
Wow,
And
yeah,
I know these are like super simple clamshells, but like with the technology that they have for, even the current high grades,
mhm,
if they just brought the high grades up to the 1/100 scale, I think a lot of people would have a lot more fun with that because I think manually for dexterity, it's easier to work with the larger kits before going down to
yeah,
the smaller ones.
Yeah.
But
mhm.
that's my personal take anyway. And
I
so
No, that makes
generally
a lot
that's
of
why I
sense,
moved on to
yeah,
master grade too, is because I liked the bigger kits. They're easier to work with, even if there's
mhm,
some smaller parts. I feel like even at the more complex scale, it's easier to work with the bigger
yeah.
pieces.
Yeah, because 'cause I've heard a lot of people saying like, "Oh, I won't go down, like, to easier," and they'll say, like, high grade or middle grade is easier, but then I don't to me, it's not easier just because, yeah, the scale of everything is so
Mhm.
much harder to work with and the dexterity of it. Yeah, it's definitely a different
I
experience,
I would never recommend a real grade for a
right? For
beginner
an entry? Mhm.
because It's just so
Yeah.
many tiny pieces, and they're in a way fragile if you don't know what you're
Mhm.
doing. Very
Mhm.
easy to break it, especially if you get
Oh,
the
I've
older
broken
ones.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And with high grades, what I worry sometimes, and I think we kind of forget, is like I feel like you look at social media and you see like a really nice build, and then you go buy a high grade without really knowing what you have to do to make it look to like the standards of like what you see on social media. I think a master grade is closer. There's a lot more detail, a lot more surface
Mhm.
detail and inner frame. But a high grade, like
Mhm.
if you get like an old one, it looks pretty rough, like straight out the
Yeah.
box. So,
And I think it's
The
the color
color blocking
separation
is
too.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
the separation is so bad, where it just
Yeah.
so
and
flat
stickers
looking almost.
and
Mhm.
all that.
And
But
the stickers.
I hate stickers. Like that's why I
I
don't like
will
Oh,
painting.
I have a confession to make. I always use the eye stickers. I don't care. I will always use the eye
I
stickers.
I I do to a certain extent because some of them look really good. Some of them like
Yeah.
they do the job, especially if there's like a clear piece above it, you're not really going
mm,
to tell. Um, but yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, it's also a pain in the ass to just paint like the black around the tiny eyes and just paint the tiny. It's so much work.
yeah.
But actually, I was gonna ask you, what do you think? What is your preferred scale for Gunpla? Is it one
Definitely
hundred?
1/100. Yeah, for sure. Um, I think anything that's a little bit bigger and easier, I think is a lot of fun because you get the presence of the scale without a lot of the additional
Mhm,
work. That's why I say I want to see the 1/100 high grades come back. But
mhm,
like I had fun with like the RX 00 bus that I did. That was like 1/48 scale.
Mm.
And I thought that was pretty cool just to have something like that. And then I went ahead and
mhm.
destroyed it for a build. But I mean, hey, like, like
Yeah.
when they're cheaper and easier, it's easier to kind of dive into making customs like that. Because one of the things that I really like trying to do is like I've been getting into dioramas and want to tell a story, but like using just Gundams, it's kind of hard to do that. And so I want to try to incorporate some smaller pieces. And so I've been trying to find ways to do like the bigger scale kits with some other types of model kits. For example,
Mhm,
with the 1/100, I found this line. I think it's called Yankee Hill, where they make like tank miniatures and they
Mm.
make like helicopter miniatures, but they're 1/100 scale, so they match the master grade scale or like the 1/100 scale. So
Like
it's like
mhm.
this
you
big.
can
Yeah.
they're pretty
Oh,
they're pretty
Oh,
good.
really?
I would
this
say,
Okay.
big?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. They're not as small as you would expect. Compare it to a tank, or compared
Mm.
to a gunpla, like at the 1/100
Mhm,
scale. Um, I don't have it anymore because it's out of shop. But I did a diorama with a 1/100 Zaku Zaku, and I had two of those tanks on a bridge over some running water. And like at that time I wasn't doing content because I was just kind of like burnt out, and I'm like I just want to do stuff for myself, and so I didn't record it. But I'm looking back at that diorama in the window. I'm like, oh, that would have been such a good video.
Like, I should have done it. No, I completely agree with the 1/100 too. I like them more. The only problem for me, I guess, when getting the 1/100 versus, um, the smaller scales is just the price sometimes.
Mm.
Sometimes it'll jump from, like, 20 to $70, and it's just a little bit where I can't. So then I'll
And
just get the smaller ones.
I don't know if y'all feel
But I
this way,
agree.
but like every time you find a kit you want, it's just the most expensive one in the collection, like in
Why
the
is that?
shop.
Every time I'm like, "Oh, how much is this one?" And it's just he's like, "Oh, that's, like, our most expensive one." "Oh, okay." That's the one I wanted.
Like,
Yeah,
damn,
it
I was
happens every
expensive.
single time. Mhm.
It's
Now that'll
so.
tie
But al
in that'll tie into like a recent pickup that I think we have, like one of the questions
Mm-hmm.
coming up.
Ooh.
Yep.
Because yeah, talking about how
Mhm.
expensive, like for people that don't know, I live out in Hawaii, and so everything's got to get boated in from the
Oof,
States. And
yeah.
sometimes we get kits directly from Japan, but a lot of the times we'll get it from like California, from like stateside, they'll come down to us. And so that drives up
Mhm.
the price a lot, And for me, I try to spread around where I shop too. So like I'll do some online, I'll support some stores here, but I still try to come back to like my local stores too to support them. But like the cool thing is that even if I shop locally here, when I factor in shipping to bring a kit out here, it gets really close to competitive pricing. So
Mm.
it's not like I'm hurting to buy locally here versus if I
Mhm.
buy something from like let's say like any one of the shops that have like online websites, like as long as like if I have one kit in that box that shipping is gonna skyrocket, and that's like, okay, well, I might as well just throw everything else in. So it's almost like if I'm gonna buy a kit, I'm gonna buy
Mhm.
everything else that I need.
It's all
Versus
or
if I just
nothing.
shop locally, I
Exactly.
can just buy the kit.
Yeah. That's true because then you just wanna lump it up into one shipping cost, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you
With
so
that
I'm
note, like, how
go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna ask how big your backlog is or
At the
So
moment.
yeah. No, so I
I'm
think
curious.
right now, like my backlog, I think I counted it. I'm at like 26 right now. And this is after selling a lot, you know.
Mhm,
But in my cope, in my defense, I treat a lot of these kids more like a business, right? It's trying to make content,
Mm.
try
mhm,
to make videos out of it, and it's like if I were just building it on my own, I probably would slow down a lot because I'm not building as much as I was before. But like for me, it's like I saw kits where I'm like, oh, this would make a good video. I have ideas for it. So that's how I ended up picking them up. But then it's like I have more video ideas than I'm able to record, edit, and like push out before I'm like having to do the next one. And so even
mhm.
with just like adding in the recording to just on top of the building and then customizing and then the editing, that just like slowed everything down.
I think also it also connects to, how difficult it is to find Gunpla for you, or like more how it's more challenging, I would say.
Mhm.
So it
Mhm.
makes sense that like you probably take advantage of bulk
Yeah,
ordering and stuff like that. So
it's like stocking up,
yeah,
exactly.
stocking up basically.
Mhm.
So that
Making
makes
sure
sense.
that you have the next one to build, the next idea to go on. Makes
No,
sense.
trust me, there's no shortage of kits out here.
Oh.
I see projects and I'm like, I want to make a video out of that. I want to
Mhm,
make a video out of that. I want to make a video out of that. And then they just sit because it's like I'm still working on this video before I can
mhm.
get to that video. And then
No,
by the time I'm ready
exactly,
to work on
yeah.
the next video, I buy the next video.
Mhm. I attempted to make a video, like a vlog video of building a Gundam, and the amount of time I didn't end up finishing even filming it because the amount of time. And because for one, I didn't like the shots I took. I looked back, I'm like, I don't even know how to use this. So I just kind of stopped halfway through the build. And then I'm like, where am I going with this video? I can't tell. Like how to make it like artfully nice or visually nice or even fun to watch. I wasn't sure. And then also the amount of time just setting up the shots of you building or like doing anything like that made the whole process take so long. It's like I just want to build my thing right now. But I completely understand what you mean when you're saying it definitely holds things back, probably from the
Filming
speed
Yeah, and then
build that. Yeah.
Yeah, filming things like makes whatever you're doing take twice as long. Even like an unboxing video, normally you would just rip that box open and boom, you're done. But no, when you do an unboxing video, you gotta do the top down, the side view, you gotta do the cutting, zoomed in. Like it just takes so long. Like
Mhm.
that's why I get so lazy too.
yeah, that's what made it hard too, is like it's like I wanted to just build for a while. I'm
Mm.
tired of moving cameras to build. I just want to build. So that's why I ended up taking a break from like doing videos because I just wanted to just build and have fun again and get back into the hobby. Like for a while I wasn't building a lot because it was like, life was happening. I was going through some like personal issues, like I lost my grandparents, and so I was just kind of like I can't focus on other things. I just want to sit down and build because this is what I need for me. And so for me, it was just like, all right, forget the camera, just go do what you did. So when I
Mhm.
did that build for the shop that I gave to the Zaku build, I was so happy because like I got to just dive in and do exactly what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
I didn't have to think about changing the camera angle, making sure the camera's
Mhm.
lined up, making sure my hands are in the shot, making sure that it's focused on
Heck
my
yeah.
hand so it's
I
not a
commend
blurry
you so
shot.
much. Mhm. And then there might be like a piece of trash in the shot that you didn't notice while you're taking it, so then
Yep.
you have to do it
Oh my
again.
God. Yep. Oh my God. Yep.
Or yeah, anything like that. How long
Or
did
it's
you take a break for?
It was probably, I would say it was about like a year, I want to say, because it was kind of where like so I was kind of going through this thing where I lost three of my grandparents like kind of within a short span of time. So
Mhm.
like it was kind of just dealing with that,
Mhm.
dealing with work stuff and then just kind of focusing in on just making sure I could get through, life dealing with how not having grandparents, going to funerals and things like that. So like I said, I was just kind of focusing on I need to take care of myself before I can help other people. And so, like, when
Mhm.
I do my channel, I always say, start when I always end my videos, I say, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, right? I say it in that specific order because before you can help other people, you want to help yourself. And for
Mhm.
me, it was it was practicing what I preach. Is like I need to take care of myself before I can help other people, teach other people, make videos for other people. Because it's like if I'm not happy, if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, it you can really see it in videos when that
Mhm.
happens,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think for me, it was just like I don't want to put out a video that like I didn't have my full heart into making.
Mhm.
I didn't want to put out something that was like just to appease the algorithm, you know. And so for me, it was just like, yeah, take a break. You know, you're not like your YouTube channel isn't your primary source of income. It gives it's side money for now. It's okay. Like I can maybe buy a master grade every couple months with the income, but it's just like, don't worry about it. You got your money situation's fine. Just focus on what you need to focus on. And then eventually, you know, itch came back and I'm back to making videos. I just put one out this past Monday. I did one I think last week or the week before. I got one out. And so
Mm.
it's kind of now it's learning the new balancing between work now with a kid and then trying to make this channel happen. So a lot of the times it's like I can record from 9 to midnight and that's all I have.
Mhm. If you don't mind me asking, how old is your kid?
My son is 3 months old. He just hit
Mhm.
100 days today.
Eh,
So
Oh,
thank you.
yeah.
hope you watch this
Congratulations.
when you're a grown up adult. You should
Yeah,
be proud of your dad.
that is
And I
no.
think that's another cool thing that I
Mhm.
wanted to do with my channel
Mhm.
is just like something that like my son or my kids can look back on and be like, hey, that's dad, or even hey, that's
Mhm.
grandpa.
That that I never thought about that, but yeah, like if we do have kids, they'll be able to see our content in the future and be like, damn,
Oh,
my dad was a nerd. Like,
And
just
I'm happy with
loser,
that.
man.
It's funny because like since I became a dad, my shame has gone out the window. Like I don't care anymore.
mm,
Like my kid, I work as a counselor at a college, and so when I go out to see students, sometimes they ask me the most ridiculous questions, and I'm just like, "Bruh, I don't care. Like, get your shit together, get your assignments in on time. If you fail, that's on you, not on me. I can't help you do your assignments. I can't hold your hand for you, you know." But like, it's just the amount of shame, like just like I don't care anymore. These kids ask the most wildest things, and it's just like whatever.
for the better. For the
It
better.
is. I mean, yeah.
But going, I guess, back to a little bit of, I guess, your
Mhm.
backlog. 26 is not, it's
Not too bad.
borderline okay. I'll say borderline okay. I mean, it's fine.
I think we have Dre, so
Yeah, like at the end of the
I'm a bit
day,
numb
one of our
to
co-hosts has
how much someone could
90
have.
something. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna defend Jay for a little bit, and I'm going to explain
No,
this to
please
you.
don't.
Okay,
Please
you
don't.
don't have to
I'm
do
going
it.
to. No, no, no. I'm going to. This is my episode. My episode. I'm gonna do it. So, what I always say about when it comes to gunpla building, and even if you just think of it as kit collecting, for me is if you're not financially hurting, if you're not putting yourself in physical danger because you can't maneuver around your space, right? If you're
Yeah,
yeah, if you
thank you
can
for
meet
saying
those
that.
two big
Mhm.
things, and you're not affecting your personal interpersonal relationships with other people for it, buy all the kits that you can afford. It's not hurting anybody,
That's true.
especially if you're not hurting yourself by buying too many kits, putting yourself in financial danger. So if you have 80 kits, cool. Congratulations, you bought 80 kits. I'm happy that you have a collection. That's awesome. If you only have 10 kits, hey, I'm happy you have 10 kits. If you're going kit to kit, it's like, hey, I'm so glad that you have something to look forward to, or
Mm,
I'm so glad that you're even able to just enjoy us with one kit that you have in front of you you know
Mhm.
and I look forward to hearing what you decide to be your next kit. So I don't judge if you have one kit. I don't judge if you have 1,000 kits. If you're happy and you're not hurting yourself or anyone else, go for it.
No,
that
that's a mindset that everyone should have when
yeah.
anyone is experiencing joy in whatever hobby they're doing. If it's something that you're experienced in and someone's like telling you about something they're doing, if you're not experienced in it, that's like the best mindset to have because you never want to be the person that's like that's all you have, to that kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
person
yeah, that would be
as
unfair.
well.
Also, just to
Mhm.
clarify for any listeners, I like realistically, I don't like really care how many kids you have or you
He's
like,
joking. He's joking. We all know he's
yeah,
We're
joking.
all
like
joking.
this is an inside joke
It's
that
all good
started
fun.
with Jay having 90 kids, and it's just a never-ending like me giving shit before it. But what about the collection though? Because I mean, I'm sure you built quite a lot. So do you end up
Mhm.
keeping them? Do they become are they gonna become your kids' toys in the future? Like, what's happening with the collection?
So there's a mix of things that kind of happen with them. Some of them I have. I actually take some. I have some in my office at work that are just on my
Mm.
shelves there. Um, I have some in a glass case that I have back at the place. So I have moved before this. I'd moved, and before that I moved again. So I like moved twice. And so the place in between my old place and here, I have a glass case with a lot of my kits in there. But to be honest, like after a while, if I see the kit and I'm just like, I need space, so I just toss them.
Throw them out?
I
You
throw
toss
them
them?
out. I've thrown them out.
What? You gotta give them away. I'm sure
Oh.
some might
I've
like it.
I've given I have only given 1 kit away so far, but honestly, if
Oh.
anyone asks me for a kit, sure, I'll send them a kit, whatever. You know, I've had friends that, like, I say,
Yeah,
like, "Oh, I'm really looking for this kit," and I had it, and I'm like, "You want it?" And I sent them a kit, like, I don't care,
that's
you know? It's just 'cause it's again, for me,
it
it's
makes sense,
community,
yeah.
it's connecting with people. If
Yeah,
this kit brings them more joy than it brings me sitting in my collection, have it.
Mhm,
Here, take it,
yeah.
for
That's
sure.
I'm not hurting for cash if I give you this kit, you know?
Mhm,
that's how I feel. It's like because I don't keep most of my kids. Uh, it's like because also it's like space. I feel like that's
mhm.
always the biggest issue.
The
It's like
space is hard, yeah,
oh,
because no matter
uh,
whenever you collect them, too many at a point, even, like, going over 4 kits just collectively together, it starts to look pretty cluttered,
mm,
honestly. But then, obviously, you'll have more than 4 at one time on one shelf, and it's hard to figure out a way to display them in a way that makes it look visually pleasing and fitting your space a lot of times, but I
I
think
think that's also
I
why
reacted that way when you said you threw them out, which is 'cause I get very emotionally attached to my kids. I'm like, "It's my son. What do you mean?" So that's why it hurt my heart a little bit.
well, I mean, like, for me, like, some of the kids, like, I see this kid, like, "Oh, I'm gonna keep this one for sure," you
Mhm.
know? But some of the other kids where, like, if I made a video for it, and, like, I'm done with it, or if I use a lot of the times, if I use something for, like, a demonstration, like,
Yeah.
I don't always keep it necessarily, but, like,
Mhm.
sometimes kits that I make on my channel become, like, experiments, and
mm,
so, for me, it's like, it served its purpose, right? I don't need to
Yeah.
keep it, or I don't need to hold on to it, you know? But, like, there are
That's
kits
really
that, like, I
helpful.
have that, like,
Mhm.
I still keep for now, like my real grade high new that I did, the pink one, like, I really like that one because that was a kit that I saw, like, as soon as that one came out, I knew I was gonna be the first person to make a video on it, and I was so happy that, like, I was the first person to get a real grade high new video out.
that's impressive because it's a really
Mhm.
popular kid. Like I mean that I would
It
say
is.
within especially in the Instagram space, I think it
Yeah.
might be top 3 most popular kits.
Mhm.
So
I
and
would
it's a
say
really
I would
good
say
kit.
top 3 real grades
Yeah.
out there. I think like, I'm sure a lot of people have, like, other ones, but, like, for me, it's new Sotheby High New, and, like,
Mhm.
I haven't built any of the newer ones like God or,
Mm,
Burning, or
yeah.
I wanted to do the cross one. I know that one's tiny, but I wanna do that one just to say I have a real
The
great
crossbones?
crossbone,
I
Mm.
but
love crossbone. I have the master grade, but yeah, even the master grade is tiny. It's like it's the size of
yeah,
a high grade. So
Is
like
it?
yeah, it's like yeah, it's
Oh, no.
all the
Mhm.
wing crossbow and F90 like those
That's true,
kits
they're
are
smaller,
tiny,
yeah.
but they're cute.
Yeah, the new's huge. That guy. Chunky boy.
Yeah, I think, like, the real grade high news and the Sosby, they're, like, almost like mini master grades, especially with, like, going back to what you're saying about how high grades aren't really, like, beginner kits. With the new ones that are, like, the really mini master grade versions, like
Mhm.
I said, like, I think, like, from the new onward, like, those things are really complex, but they look so good when they're done.
Mhm.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
this is
that's so nice.
you need to build the Sazabinu now. You still haven't done it, so
I haven't done that one. Nope. I'll do it one day.
The
The
real
new
grade or
one.
the master grade?
both.
Both.
Well, I haven't
'Cause I
built the
did
master grade either, but it's actually
um,
funny. They just announced a upscaled version of the real grade Sazabi in 1/100 scale,
Oh,
which I'm excited. Actually, I might get that because I like the proportions, and this is like a hot take, but I like the real grade proportions of the Sazabi and the new a lot more than the master grade. So this is perfect for me. Like it's smaller, more slim, like
mhm,
pointy design. So
I will say I have a master grade new, and I do think the real grade looks better. I don't know if it's just proportions, but I think it's just I think it also could do the surface detail of the real grade compared to the master grade Verca because I think the master grade Verca isn't as detailed as the real grade.
Yeah, I mean, it has like the cycle frame, inner frame
Mhm.
thing gimmick, and it is Verka, so it is a little bit over stylized. But even then, I think the real grade is still like just as detailed, if not more. But for me, mainly is the proportions, right? I like
I
the
will
real
I will
grade
s
is.
I will give you something on the proportions. The Verkov face is too long. I
Mm-hmm.
think it looks a little awkward, but when you look at the real grade face, it fits a lot
Yeah,
better than the master grade version
it's a
does.
block for them. Yeah, see. But yeah, I am not a fan. But again, if you like anime accuracy, then you might like that one more. But yeah, so I guess
Yeah,
to each
anyway,
their own.
I think yeah.
build what you want.
Filter joint, exactly.
Do you
Um,
collect anything else besides Gunpla, or is this kind of like your main hobby?
So I think gunplay has become kind of just my main hobby. Um, Up until COVID, I was big into airsoft, but after COVID, I kind of sold off a lot of my stuff, so I don't have anything else like that anymore. So
That's a
really, what
throwback.
kind of became what's that?
That's a throwback. Airsoft's a throwback.
mhm, airsoft.
Oh man, I was hard into airsoft, man. I was spending as much money on airsoft stuff as I was on gunplay stuff. So the fact that I lost that hobby, I don't know if I
Mhm.
necessarily save money because I'm spending money on stuff like cameras
Just
and stuff, but you know.
Less injuries at least.
That's true. A lot a lot safer probably,
I
unless
still
you nip yourself. Mhm.
I still to this day, I don't know remember if I remember it correctly. I think it's called a Tokyo Mayuri. I think that's how I
Yep,
remember.
Tokyo Marui.
Yeah,
Yep,
there's a Resident Evil replica of the Leon Beretta M9
yep,
that I
yep.
want to this day. Like, I don't know. I figured that out. It existed when I was maybe 10.
And
And
my friends, one of my one of my friends actually has it. Like he still has that
damn
gun.
it.
Alright, let's go. Give us the address, we'll rate it.
So
We'll get
yeah.
everything here. Come on, let's go.
Airsoft.
You'll have
You
to
don't,
take a boat
airsoft you
to
don't
get
do
out here.
anymore?
Not so much anymore. I
Mhm.
again, I mostly kind of got into like gunpla really now, and I think a big thing mostly is just like, um, I think like since COVID, for me personally, I've become a lot more of a kind of like a homebody, a lot more like introverted, and not to say like I became less social, but it's just like I really enjoyed my private space. I really enjoyed my private time,
Mhm.
but like I think for me, I still wanted to share the things that I did with other people. So that's how I eventually also kind of came into content creation. I wanted to like share some of the builds that I have because like even before I started my channel. Like I wasn't even on Insta. I had an Instagram, but I just used it to send memes to friends. And even back in the day, it wasn't as good as it is today, sharing memes out. But like once I got, my channel going, I got the Instagram going. For me, it was just like I always just wanted to share everything that I had, everything that I was doing. And for me, it was like getting into Gunpla, getting back into it. There wasn't a lot of like content showing people how to do those things. So I was kind of like showing people, like making videos, showing people like, hey, don't mess up like I did. Do this instead.
Very honorable, noble, I think. So
No, I feel like we that's a pretty big not or I feel like I've seen that trend a lot in during COVID when people since you were forced, right, to be alone, you like obviously you had to be alone. A lot of people were able to discover different hobbies through that too, and then also discover how to be alone, and then actually being like, "Oh yeah, this is nice." So I really understand that because for me too, I started building more when during COVID as well. Yeah.
So it's funny because I started building in about 2018, so before COVID hit. And then during COVID, I actually moved, and so I lost a lot of my space to build during that time. And then it wasn't until like a little bit after, like kind of, I think it was like late, I think it's like later into 2020, I started getting back into it, and that's when I started the channel. So my
Mm.
channel birthday is November 2nd, 2020. So I always remember that as like, okay, that's the official start of my channel.
Oh.
I mean, we have a good amount. Like I would say, from all the guests we've had on the podcast, a good amount of them started around that era. So
Mhm.
I think like it makes sense
Mhm.
because during COVID, it's so funny because my COVID experience is so different from everyone else. By the way, we just demonetized the f out of this video because I don't think
Me?
we're allowed. No, all of us, because I don't think we're allowed.
We're doing
Not, I just remembered. I don't think we're allowed to say it and YouTube.
Oh
But I
no.
Really?
mean, yeah, but also our
Wh
channel's
why?
not monetized, so it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying,
What?
just for the future.
Well, we
I don't
can
think
cut this out, but, like, what why? We can cut this part out
I
of
think
us
I don't know
talking about
why, but like you
huh.
could not say like COVID. You had to say the pandemic or the whatever is going on. Like for some reason,
Oh
the word
man.
was banned.
We can all
Good.
say pandemic and then just cut okay, we'll just say pandemic, and then you can take that voice blurb and just, like, paste it awkwardly over every time.
No,
It's
you
like,
know what you gotta do?
"Pandemic."
You gotta get Jay to just shout pandemic, so anytime he says it's just his voice shouting pandemic over what we're
Pandemic.
saying.
Make him ad
Cat.
lib while he's sick. But yeah,
That's
because
interesting, I didn't know that. Okay.
I bartended during the pandemic, so like I did not spend a single day inside, which is like, but
Oh
I was
man.
also not in the U.S., so I think it might have been different. But
The COVID experience, I'm sorry, pandemic experience in Korea was you weren't quarantined? Is that true?
I had a quarantine for 2 weeks, and actually remember I built the real great Salabi while quarantining. Yeah, I had
Okay.
a bottle of
So still
whiskey
the same.
and a
Alright,
Salabi.
still the same.
But then
2020 Danny, exact same
yeah,
person.
nothing else changed. But then afterwards, no, we didn't have to quarantine. So,
Hmm,
anyways,
interesting.
going back to our lovely guest.
I guess we don't have to talk about that. Just interesting.
Let's talk about some pickups because you did
Mhm.
Mhm.
mention that
Oh,
you
yeah.
have
Have any pickups?
a pretty big pickup to show with us.
I do. I have a full fun story behind this, but this has been
The
my latest
five.
this
Uh,
this has been my
damn.
latest pickup, and it was a kit that initially when it first came out, I was like, "That's ridiculous. I don't want it." And then I saw it up on the shelf one day, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like,
I
"Yeah, I
want
think I'm gonna get that."
I
And
want
then
it.
I went home, I thought about it, like, "Okay, I'll go back." Next day, I went back there, gone. It was gone, and I'm like, "Alright,
Oh,
wasn't
no.
meant to be. Cool, whatever." Right? Then I see all these other people building it, and I'm like, "Ah, I missed out so badly. I missed out." And then so I was like, I'd resigned myself that it's never gonna get reprinted, I'm never gonna get it, it's not gonna happen. Fast forward to about, I wanna say late last year, I wanna say about October or so, I started selling kits and I had some money. I was gonna go into the shop that I normally shop in, but I stopped by another, like a secondhand, like a book off. Do you guys have book
Mm,
off? I stopped by
mm.
into one of
Um,
those, and up on the shelf, there it is again, but it's a book off. And
at
I'm like,
Bookoff?
yeah, book off, untouched. The box
Nice.
looked
Yeah.
pristine. And I'm looking
Mhm.
at that box and I'm like, do I pick this up now? And I just remember like walking through the mall, going to the other store, looking at all the kits, and I'm like, but do I go back for the fads? Do I go back? And then I go home, I talk to my wife about it. She's like, "Yeah, you should go get it. You know, you have the money for it, might as well." I'm like, "But I don't know."
Aw,
Like, cause
uh-huh.
so I went back to book off. I asked him, like, "Hey, can I see it?" I opened it up, I checked, all the runners are there, you know, and I close it up, I give it back to them. I thought about it some more. Finally, one day, I'm gonna go get it. I go down there, it's gone again. I'm like,
No.
oh my God. So
Nar.
I decided the next time I see that kit, I am picking it up, hands down, no questions asked. And so shortly after my birthday in March, this came back to my local shop and I'm like, I want that. I want it right now.
Got it
Just
immediately.
bring it down. Yeah.
I've grown. I'm getting it. It's
How
time.
is that? What, a year, 2 years in the making, basically, to pick up that
No, it was
kit?
like no, because this kit came out in 2020.
Okay. Okay. Wow. 6 years. Okay.
6 years. Ah.
Are you
Do you
planning
have
on building it soon?
yeah, do you have plans
No,
for like a
it's
year or
gonna go
anything?
back behind because I still have so I have a I'm on like like a fat armor kit right now. So like I have the things that I want to build in order will be the Alex, then it will be the Virtue, then the Sazabi, and then this.
Oh my god, they're all so giant kit.
Massive kit. You know,
Yeah.
I just was like I said, I'm on a massive kit kick lately, just
Mhm.
picking them up. So I'm just like, I need to build these just gigantic kits and just put them all in frame of just like just these big bodied kits and grab like a little high
Yeah.
grade in the front, just like looking up at all of them,
For
you know, get
scale,
that picture
yeah.
going. Just like
Jesus.
gigantic things for no reason. But like, you know, but like again, I like the big kits because they just have that presence. And that's what I liked
Mhm.
about the high grade 1/100 is it has the presence, but it's an easy build.
Yeah. For those kits, do you have areas planned out to display them later too?
Some of them I do. I know I think I wanna take the, fats ricotta work. I wanna put that up because it's like that this is something that I think a lot of people haven't seen. Like, some
Mhm.
people are like, "Oh, they saw" like, they see pictures of my kids and whatnot, and I have, like, I have the Dorito on my shelf at work, and so that one's kind of a big kit, but if I put this thing out there, people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's a kit.
That's a unit.
That's
That's
a
a
unit."
unit. Nuna, what about you? Do
Hmm?
you have any recent pickups?
No, not since not since when I was in Japan. I haven't
No, you're a
been busy
liar.
with
Cause
personal stuff.
no,
What?
you're a
What?
liar. Cause she
What'd I
does
do?
have a pickup, but it's here. Cause I,
Oh, that guy!
Oh.
You have it!
ladies and
My
gentlemen,
my boy.
we have
The
My
duck.
boy.
this is the giant ass duck
That
mech. This
stupid
box
B-Duck,
is
yeah.
so heavy, by the way. Shipping this to you is
Is
gonna
it?
suck. But
Oh, no.
this is an
Yeah.
inside joke. We randomly discovered it midstream, I think.
Yeah, midstream, and it was, on one of our charity streams, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a redeem or a milestone. Once we got to there, we would buy the B-Duck and we would build it, but it was out of stock then, and I think that was how
Almost a
long ago
year
was
ago.
that?
It's like right or the first charity stream we did is
Yeah,
right.
maybe like half a year, 8
Yeah.
months ago or something like that. Yeah. So it's been a while and it's finally in stock. So if
Yeah.
anyone wants the B-Duck, go check it out. But
Yeah.
also,
Who
yes, I
makes the
guess that's
B-duck?
my pickup. It's it's a good question.
It's a giant duck mech. It's genuinely just a big old machine. I don't know if
But
that's
who
It's not a
made
Bandai
it?
kit?
no. It's
No,
just
it's a third
well, I
because
think
it's a whole like brand. They don't
yeah.
just make Gundam. Like there's
Okay,
like
okay.
It's an
also B-Duck.
IP. It's an IP. Yeah.
Mhm. But yeah,
But
it's a really cool kit. It's a really novel kit. Like the weapon is a shower head. And, like, it has a
That's
bunch of
awesome.
things attached to it,
it's
and if
so
you ever see people build it, it's pretty substantial, that guy. Like, he's a thick boy,
it's bigger than the
so
fast.
it'll be fun
It's
to
bigger
build.
than the fast.
What?
Yeah, it's bigger than the fast. So um it's a giant kit, but it's so heavy. Like this box is the weight of like a PG box. I'm not even
Oh,
joking.
dang.
So
That's
Oh, man.
crazy.
um
Getting that shipped over will be interesting,
also got
but
this.
thank you. Thank you for picking up.
Ryan's
Wait,
gonna
what you
be
got?
Ryan's gonna be happy. Uh because I am painting his signature kit as well. So
Oh.
Mhm.
um there's that. And
Are you
then I
doing it for him, or is it one of
yeah,
your
for him.
projects?
For him. Just his favorite colors, like his signature kit. And then I got myself it's got a rehaze, but it's a third party like Advance of Zeta kit. This is just to go next to this little one word right there in the corner. So I usually don't shop, so I'm surprised that I went shopping today. But also,
Oh,
two
yeah.
of them are not mine. So, but
That's a
so
coat. That's a coat. He's adding to the backlog.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have
How
like
Shame.
big's the backlog? Wait, how
Shame. No, I'm
big is
kidding.
your backlog?
5. Yeah,
Oof,
5.
it's getting there.
It's
That's almost rounding to 10. That is rounding to
that's
You
crazy.
can round to 10 with 5.
Yeah, well, you
Yeah.
can.
Nah, but
Yeah.
here's the thing. Does work in progress count if they're like being painted?
I wouldn't count that as a part of the backlog because if it's
Okay.
actively being
Same.
built, it's not backlogged, it's current.
I have 5 like that I haven't touched, and I have 5 that I'm working on. So
Okay, so you have
That's not
10 in
bad.
your backlog.
yeah, sure, sure. If that, but yeah. Um, yeah, that's it. That's it for recent pickups, but a lot of good pickups.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fast. Hopefully, we get to see it soon. With
But
all the
it's
big
gonna be
boys.
a while. It's gonna be a while because I like for some like I've been wanting to just do straight color like straight painting with not like
Mhm.
color replacements at all. Um, some kits like when it comes to my creative process of like how I choose kits that I want to do, I just look, do I have an idea for this? Like the high new, like the second I saw it, I knew exactly like, oh, I want to do a Quest version, right? Quest from like Char's counterattack. Like if she had because she has the I think it's like the pink. What is it? The Yagdoga. What is that one that she pilots or the kit that she has? It's kind of a pink kit.
Gyaradoga? No,
I think so.
Yapdoga?
I can't remember. But
It's
anyway,
one of the
I was like,
Dogas.
what if like we took those pinks and put it on a Hainu, and so I kind of like made like a what if kit out of that into the Hainu. So like if I can come up with an idea of what I want to do for a kit, that's usually how I end up purchasing them, you know. And
Mhm.
so like for me, a lot of the times I really just like doing the straight paints
Mm,
for kits because I just like the original color scheme. You know, I'll dress it up, you know, like I'll like, you know, paint the inner frame a little bit, you know, I'll add some like metallic accents here and there, but for the most part, I like kind of keeping the same colors. I may like alter them a little bit just for my own personal preference. Like for me, um, I like a little bit more muted colors. I don't like full bright,
Mhm.
like super saturated. Like
tell me
my
about
Like
it.
less of
like
the primary color and more something like a
I
little
would say more
mhm,
muted, like muted.
muted.
Like if I were to say
Mhm.
like it's not super bright red, but maybe like
Yeah.
closer to crimson, you know.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
kind of more
I like that too.
intermediary, like because like
Mhm.
even like the curios that I have back there, that bright purple one, like I would probably do a softer purple, like maybe a
Mhm.
slightly more bluish purple instead of going just straight purple. But like you know, back when I built that one, I was still learning, so it's kind of like I'm
Mm,
just gonna buy the paint colors and just use that.
yeah. I've been there. I mean, I guess we can talk a little bit about our building process, and you're a
Hmm.
painter
Mhm.
yourself and a customizer yourself. But yeah, talk
Hmm.
about when you first start off. You get intimidated because you're like, I don't know, you can mix it. I don't know if it's like how it's gonna be. So I remember like I would be like, the colors I bought are the only the colors I have. But now I'm just like, I'm just gonna mix whatever I need.
Yeah, and for a while I was actually thinking of doing videos of just doing like a straight lineup of like, okay, I have like 4 or 5 different brands of paints. I'm just gonna see which ones work well together, which ones
Mhm.
mix well, which ones
Mhm.
don't, you know? And it wasn't like I wasn't gonna do like the obvious, like, oh, if I put an acrylic and a lacquer, what's gonna happen? You know,
Yeah.
yeah, just instant explosion in your hands. But I was thinking like, you know, like the Splash and Mr. Hobby work well together. Does Gaia and Silver Oaks or the old Anchoret paint still work together, you know? Like in terms of mixing them, what happens to them?
Yeah.
Because like sometimes it's just like, you know, it's easy to just want to be like, okay, I just want to buy the color because I don't want to mix it. But then it's just like then you end up like me with like more paint than kits. And it's like you have giant bottles of paint because you're like, oh, I have so I'm gonna use all of this. But then you realize with like lacquers, like you don't need a lot of paint to get good coverage. And so you end up with just like a ton of extra leftover paint. And they're just kind of like, all right, well, I guess I really should learn how to mix them so I'm not just buying new paints every
Oh,
single,
yeah.
you know, every single build.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Mhm.
gonna call out my friend Yujin because he made me paint a Zaku in a mustard yellow color, and now I have about this much of mustard yellow that I will probably never use because like I don't like that color. So I'm like, but it happens. Like you just because like when you buy a lacquer paint, it's this
Mhm.
small, right? You're like, oh,
Right.
that's I'm probably gonna need two. I always think it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna need two, so I buy two,
True.
and then but then you mix it with the lacquer thinner, and then
Mhm.
it triples, and so
Yep.
you're like, wait, I have a lot more than I thought I need. Don't make that mistake. Yeah, don't make that
And
mistake.
so that's actually another fun thing that I like to do with my channels. I like doing weird experiments like that. So one of the things that I'm doing right now is I just have a bunch of just thinned paints just sitting
Mhm.
out like in my garage because that's where my new paint area is. And it's just like I'm just waiting. I'm just like literally just checking the time. Like, all right, it's been 2 years. How's the paint look? And surprisingly, these things are pretty
Mm,
long lasting. I have some paint from like 2020 when I first got started that are like I still use it, you know? It's
that's good to
surprising,
know.
so I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm surprised, like and, like, for me, it's super humid, so and it's super hot, so, like, I get a lot of, like, you know, like,
Mm,
paint evaporation or,
Mhm.
like, the thinner, like, evaporating and things like that, but, like, for me, it's just, like, even if I just add thinner to that, I haven't done it yet, like, add thinner just to see how long I can stretch it. I'm just letting some old bottles just go and see what happens, and then hopefully I can make a video out of that because then that's something else I can teach somebody, you know? It's
mhm.
like, oh, I can afford to do a stupid experiment like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think one of my favorite videos I did was I literally you know the little jet piece from the Force Impulse?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So I wanted to see how I wanted to practice doing like resin pours for that, right? And I figured, oh, that's a small enough thing that you can like, you know, make a small diorama out of it. I'm like, well, it's that small, I can submerge it, right?
Mm.
And so If people don't know, resin's exothermic means it gives off heat as it starts to cure. If you mix too much of it, it can start to bubble. And if you mix too much of it, it can melt plastic. And so when I initially did the jet, I submerged it and immediately everything started to bubble and
Oh.
like started to smoke a little bit inside my house, mind you. So
Oh,
like thankfully I had it on this metal tray. So I just picked up the metal tray, just took it outside and I'm like, all right, that was a failure. But then but
Oh,
then
no.
thankfully I came back to it. I'm like, you know what? I can make a video out of this. And I did. And it was just so much fun just to show people like literally this
Yeah.
melted thing where it's just like it's bubbling, it's warped, right? And then like I tried, so I used like a acrylic sheet to like entrap it. And then because I wasn't expecting it to get too hot, I used a hot glue gun. But obviously, if it's exothermic and giving off heat, the hot glue melted, so I had a lot
Mhm.
of it run
Yeah.
out onto the tray, right? But I tried to break the acrylic sheet off. I couldn't, so I have like sharp pieces of acrylic sheet sticking off of it, and it's like all bubbly and things like that. So like I had it for a video, and so I think well that's the first kit. I think that's the first project experiment that I regret throwing it away because talking about it now, I'm like, ah, man, that's such a funny thing.
Mm.
that'd be a
Just,
fun
like,
thing to show
showing
off.
your shards of the
It was more of
different
a
kits.
safety concern at that point, which is why I threw it away.
Right?
But I'm like,
Yeah.
We need to start
so
Yeah.
a new show. It's called
Well, that's
Breaking
so cool,
Plastic.
though.
Breaking
Yeah.
Plastic.
That'd be
Uh,
funny, though. Chopped? The whole concept of Chopped, like, the cooking show when they
no,
just give it's like, it's a food channel show where they just give the same ingredients to, like, 5 chefs. I don't know how many chefs there are, and then they all just make a different creation with it. That'd be cool to see if you gave a bunch of people, like, customizers, same colors, same everything, same kit, what it would turn out like too.
I'm gonna
How
be
they would
honest.
mix, how
I've
that would all go.
I've
Would it all
been
what
very interested in hosting a contest, and I've
a contest like that?
really been wanting to, but I thought it would be fun because most contests is like a theme, right? But I was like, let's see. I feel like one that hasn't been done and it fits to my brand is paint me a full kit without using color. Only blacks, whites, grays, and maybe
uh,
metallics. But and then like
So
we
really just
do,
using texture?
yeah.
Mm.
I'm so curious to know what people do.
I
That's
had a
a lot
fun
of
project.
technique. Mhm.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I had a project it reminds me of a project that I did. I actually did the high grade aerial. I did
Hmm.
that in photo negative.
Okay, that's pretty sick.
Mm.
So that was kind of a fun thing. So hey, there's something that you can use your mustard yellow for.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, if you
I
use
just
that
threw
mustard
up a little
yellow
bit for some
and
reason.
if you color invert it, that becomes your nice, beautiful blue.
I'm gonna be honest. I look at my paint, like you have your paint tray, right? And
Yep.
if
Mm.
you know me, I mainly do like I have like four shades of gray, blacks, and whites. My clear coat, and I just have fat orange mustard yellow just in the corner. It just stares at me every day. I'm like, I hate you so much.
We should give you a project where you can use that. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll find
So
something
maybe,
what's it?
for it.
maybe.
Maybe we can get you the master grade O and you can paint that a nice
Oh
mustard
god,
yellow.
I would never. I'm sorry, but I don't want that block of tofu or block of cheese. Like I just don't. This is I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, like I like the design, but like the kit, I don't need it. It's just like, you know what I mean. It's too big. I don't know.
It's an excuse to use your mustard yellow.
Exactly. You could
That's
make it a block of cheese.
I'll do the
Only you
black
can do it.
circles. I'll do the black circles and everything. That'll be
Make
funny.
it
Someone do
squares.
that, please. Someone do that. Make the Dio and
Insane. A
yeah,
block of cheese.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyway, I mean, we can talk about some customizing, but like, what
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
got you into customizing, and what's the
That's a
progression
fun
been?
one. Yeah, so I'll
What
tell you
was
for
your
the
first
longest
project?
time from
Mhm.
2018 to like 2020, I was a straight builder. I did not paint anything because I'm like, why do I need to paint these kids? They're color separated. They're beautiful. I don't need a paintbrush. I don't need an airbrush. Fuck that. And then I'm like, what if that was red? And then I just went off the deep end. I just got all the paint stuff. I went full ham. I went straight into an airbrush because I was like, I did the
Oh,
research. I was looking into it, and I'm like,
Nice.
like hand painting. I think it wasn't what I needed because I needed that industrial look. So I'm like, okay, it's got to be an airbrush, right? And then one of my friends had one. I was like, okay, let me just give this a shot. Right. He let me thin down some paints with his like acrylics. I sprayed a couple spoons and I'm like, yeah, I want this. So I went home and I just started shopping for stuff.
Mhm.
Actually, my first airbrush and my first compressor and airbrush were actually Facebook Marketplace. So I got kind of
Mm.
lucky on that one. I
Nice.
got it for fairly cheap. And then the shop that I normally go to, the local shop, they had like the old Mr. Hobby booths. I don't know if you've seen that. Like that thing was just like it was literally a single fan, and I literally used that from 2020 till 2025 when I moved. Like
Oh wow.
that thing just continued to rock. The only reason it died is because the room that I was building in just got so hot that it would just shut down.
Mm.
And so a lot of the
I
times
just over yeah, overheat.
towards the end, I was just
Mhm.
like, all right, I guess I'm done painting for now. And so then I just would clean up and put everything away.
You're like, "Okay, I guess I'm done." I wasn't done. But
That's
what was your first kit that you painted?
So
Remember?
the first kit I
Mhm.
ever painted was actually the RX-78 for a car.
the first one, the first ever
My first
Verka.
kit.
Oh,
The first ever Verka was the first kit I
ooh,
ever painted.
okay.
And it really was just an experiment for me. So like for me, I was just like, hey, I don't care how this turns out. I just want to see. So I did the basic, the metal inner frame, right? All one single metal color. And then
Mhm.
I just did. So for me, really early on, the easiest thing that I like to do for like customizing is I would just color swap parts,
Mm,
like, all right, all of the reds are going to be this color, all of the yellows are going to be this color. And it made it really easy to get into customizing because then it's like, I don't need to change everything. I just need to change certain things. So like,
Mm.
if you look at like even like
Curio.
the curios back there, all the orange is just purple. That's all it is, and so like it's a custom, it's different, but like it's something simple that you can kind of get into. So for that one, I even got the chance to like recast the clear green sections, and I even made that purple.
That's sick.
Yeah,
That's
want to see?
sick.
Yeah, here, want to see?
Because yeah, I don't see a lot of people who change the clear parts.
So this is one of my earlier projects that I did. I actually did this one for the what was it? The guys that do the donation to like the Trevor project, right? So you can see like the
Yeah, the
purple in
GN
there.
drive and
Gene driving the arms too. They're right there. And then like the side of the head too, even.
that's a beautiful build.
Mhm.
Thank you. So like
That's
for
sick.
that was fun because all I did was I took some silicone putty. I I took the clear green piece, I took some
Hmm.
silicone putty, I just pushed it in there, waited for it to cure, popped it out, and then just put some UV resin in there. Let it cure, it's clear, and then I just hit it with some clear purple, and that's all I needed to do.
That's I'll use that in the future. Thank you. I didn't.
I made a whole video on it, and
Yeah.
it's funny because like there are videos that I thought would do good, and there are videos that I thought wouldn't do good. I thought that video was gonna take off. It never really
Mhm.
did. There was like some interest in it, and some people they see that like, oh, that's pretty cool, but like it never really got as big as like some of my other ones. Like till this day, my number one video is like one of my first videos. It's like how to use Gundam markers, and it's literally just like for straight builds, you just use the markers
Mhm.
in the panel lines, and I just show people how to do that. That thing gets
Yeah.
thousands of views a month, and that's like my top video. That's all. It's been my top video for like the length of my channel. And it's just
Mhm.
wild how that one still goes.
It's kind of weird because like you would think most people would know, like, you know what, because it's such a basic skill for us because we've
Mhm,
been building for a while. But then like sometimes you have to realize like, oh, there's so many people out there who probably just snap build and don't even do
Mhm.
anything else. And
mhm,
so even a
Yeah.
simple thing like, or even the two cut method, for example, or like
Mhm.
panel
mhm,
lining, it's like they will watch that. It's
I
kind of
think
like
it's because it's like that weird cross section with like when people are getting into a new hobby, right? And
mhm,
then but they're also like starting to get interested in like customizing, doing like panel lining or anything, but they're still really intimidated to just do stuff on their own, correct? So then with like panel lining or anything more just like the first thing you do, right, when you start customizing or doing anything like that, it'll probably garner more attention on the videos just because people are like, "How do you do this? I need the video so that I can get my, like, foot wet into this kind of, I don't know, concept." So, it makes sense, I guess. but yeah, it is interesting where like something more like what you're talking about, how that one gets more views than your other videos. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I thought, for me, I've always been big about getting more people into YouTube because it's like unlike Twitch where like if you're live and somebody else is live, they have to pick between one or the other. I like YouTube because
Exactly.
it's like after they finish watching someone else's video, they can jump into my video, then they can jump into somebody else's video. And it's just
Mhm.
like the more YouTube grows, the more people are there.
Mm.
It's just a person can sit down and they could just watch Gunpla builds
Exactly.
all day, get excited,
Mhm.
get hyped up, get ideas. And so that's why I wanted to do
Have you
more
ever
like
Yeah.
custom. What's that?
Have you ever done Twitch streaming or anything like other avenues of content creation like that?
I did like 2 live streams, and I
Mm.
did it
Mhm.
only on my YouTube channel because, like, um, I one of the rabbit holes I went down was learning OBS, and so, like, for me, it was, like, trying to learn how to do all of that stuff, setting up the mic settings, like, learning how to get my
Mhm.
camera up and running that, like, I was still in the mode of still trying to learn how to do just regular video that I'm like, "I'm gonna put Twitch off for now until I can get regular videos down first," because I have a
Mhm.
habit of, like, I'll try to learn so many different things at once that I'm just like, "Okay, wait, let me focus
Yeah.
down on one thing first." And
Yeah.
so and that even happened with my channel too, where it was like I first started, I wanted to do like all these different edits, I wanted to do all these different videos, and I'm like, "Okay, let's just learn how to make a video first. Let's
Mm.
just learn how to do." So I started off with tutorials because I figured, um kind of going into like where I got my name, Plamotherapist, my channel was initially going to be about how to use model kits for mental health and things like that. But I figured the best way to get people to start to gain benefits from this is just to teach them how to build first and
Mhm.
foremost, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I started off just kind of doing tutorials. And so like even a lot of my other videos, I try to show things that are a little bit on the cheaper end, some DIY stuff, just to
Mhm.
say that like, hey, like I know there's a lot of great products out there. I'll be more than happy to test them for you guys. If I can find a replacement for you, or if I can find something that's a cheaper alternative that works just as well, I'd be more than happy to recommend those things to you. One of the
Mhm.
videos I had was I had like a wet palette that I did a review on, and I love the wet palette. I use it all the time, like for hand painting, some other projects that I started to get into. I was doing hand painting, that was great. But then I actually started using the wet palette for my decals, where I would dip it in the water, put it on the wet palette, and I can do like 5 or 6 decals, just let them sit. And then
Mhm.
I can just, instead of having to cut one out, dip it, slide it on, adjust it, put it down, I could like dip three, put one on, put the next one on, and then adjust them and then do it all in. So it started to streamline that a little bit. And when I found out you can make your, because like a lot of the model kit painters, like the Warhammer 40K guys, they say, oh yeah, you can make your own wet palette out of a Swedish dish sponge and some parchment paper. I'm like, well, if I can do that for hand painting, I can do that same thing for decals. So I made a video doing a review, but tacked on right at the end was like the part about making your own wet palette. And some people like picked up on that from that video. And so it's just like, for me, I'm always about trying to teach people how to get into this hobby, how to learn more from it.
Mhm.
And so for me, learning how to get into like doing Twitch streaming, it was just like, okay, let me just learn how to get these basic things down first, get my channel up and running, then slowly add these things on. And right now I'm still learning videography, right? Like, oh my God, that is an animal. Like I thought it was just set up your camera and record what you're doing, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
Why
It
is
like
it so hard?
It's so hard.
well, I mean, like even just something as stupid as frame rate. Like I'm like, oh, okay, set it at 30, we're good to go. And I'm like, actually now, no, do 24 because if you record at 30 and 60, you have different playback speeds that you can work with. So now you have a little bit of a slow mo. And I'm like, oh my God, that's brilliant. So now I'm starting to play around with 24 frames per second and recording at 30 and 60 and seeing how that looks when I put that into the video. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like there's so much. So like now it's like my learning is like, okay, I have a foundation enough that I can at least make like decent kits that people would want to watch built, learn the videography side of it. So it's more entertaining and that like for me it's now each shot has purpose. Like what is this showing? What am I doing here? Like how does this progress the build? And then I think the newest things I'm starting to kind of learn is like, what makes movies good is like a 3-act series, right? And I think, like
Mm.
I know like a lot of people are not super happy with like the Studio G with what happened with him, but he had really good videos because he had a 3-act thing where he would have the snap build, which is one separate, with which is like act one. Then he'd have the customization, which was act two, and then he'd have the reveal and the final shots, and that was act three. And the way he presented that with his videography background worked so well. And I couldn't for the life of me figure that out for the longest time. And it wasn't until I started to understand basic video storytelling that I realized the three act process. I'm like, oh my God, that's beautiful.
Mhm.
So like I'm starting to like learn more about the videography side of it. And so it's just like that has become my new learning passion. And I think getting back into that learning has really, it's also what kind of brought me back into making videos, is like, oh, I can learn how to make videos again by making videos again.
Mm, definitely.
That's
Pacing
true.
for a Gunpla video from start to finish is a
Hmm.
is very challenging. And I
Yeah.
think people who end up doing that will quickly realize there's so many things that you have to that you might want to cover that you have to cram in a very short video. If you're doing like short term content, like a reel or short, but
Hmm.
if you, even if you're just doing a video, there's still you're doing
Mhm.
hours and hours, like a week, a month worth of progress into
Yeah.
a 10-minute video. So the
My
pacing
first
is
video, my first video was literally just like, you can build Gunpla with like nail clippers, right?
mm,
And I did that whole video, like I think it's like maybe like a 8 or 10 minute, not super long, right? It took me 18 hours to edit that. Like
No.
I had to get up
Editing,
and walk
yeah.
away. My computer literally died in the middle of it. I thought I lost everything. Like my computer like blue
Oh,
screened on
no.
me. My computer blue screened on me. And I'm like,
Uh,
but like it was when I was exporting. So thankfully, like I just
okay.
I got to say I saved
Mhm.
it, I got to export it, I got to upload it, and I'm like, oh thank God.
We're
But like
fine, I think. Mhm.
even just like my last video that I did with the my spray booth, which was just a review, right? Like even just putting that little kind of like artsy beginning right into the initial review, into the final version of that. Even that, like that took me like 6 7 hours to edit. So I mean, like even now, just like editing still takes up a good chunk of time, and even that one wasn't like this complex as like, like just like a lot of people like do like those quick cuts for their edits. Dude, that takes forever.
yeah,
Like
because you have
doing
to
like,
trim like little
It's a lot.
parts, and then
Yeah.
also like there's so many tricks like adding
Mhm.
risers and zooms and all that, and
mhm,
just learning all of that takes a long time. And
Exactly.
I mean, I guess we can all kind of give advice for, I guess, people who want to do it. I guess my advice would be is just do it. Like you just have
mhm,
to make videos. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, some people are just naturally talented, but the first few
mhm.
videos you make when you start getting into it, it's not gonna look like the way you want it to, because
Nope.
you like
'Cause you
you
probably don't
might
even know what
yeah
you want it
you
to look
know
like yet. Yeah, you
you
don't
know
even know.
and you're just figuring out, I guess, the little things, but then those little
Mhm.
skills you add, like you add a riser, you add a sound effect that matches, and you add all of these things that help tell the narrative and grab
Yeah,
Mhm,
attention. Eventually, all those little skill sets will add up, and then
exactly.
you have a much better final product.
Mhm.
And I think one of the things that I learned was from like a group that I was like that talked about like making YouTube videos is just 1% every video. Just get 1% better. Do one thing
Mhm.
different, do one thing a little bit better, learn one skill that by the time you get, 100 videos later, you've leveled up 100%.
Exactly.
You're 100% better. And like, what does that look like? Well, I go back to my
Mhm.
first video now and I'm like, holy crap, like I've come a long way.
And that's pretty cool to see, right? Like, it's no one starts out putting out exactly what they want. And like what you were saying earlier, like I learned how to make videos by putting out videos. Like there's no other way to really do it. You could like keep watching other people's, and also like for me at least, if I was to tinker with things until I thought it was what I wanted it to look like, it would never see the light of day. It would never
Mhm,
be good enough to do anything. Even with like, because my primary content is streaming. With that
mhm,
too, I mean, I'm always late to streams, but usually it's because I'm changing something or improving something before, or something. I'm tinkering with anything. But yeah, that's also it goes into the same concept as just making sure something's at least, like, a little bit better than what you did before, or just trying to learn a new skill or doing something like that. But yeah. The only thing you can do is just do it for any of the content creation,
Just just make
honestly.
just make content.
Just
Yeah.
do it.
Um,
Just do
I
what speaks to you, and you'll be okay.
I should not be saying this because like I often just take
Well,
breaks from content, but also it's because I prioritize building over content. But
Mhm.
this year it's so funny. I was like, I'm going to finally like get into content, and I started a series where I'll make 30 reels for the rest of the year. And then I had health issues after health issues, so I have like 5 videos that I have to catch up on. But we'll get
do
there.
you have them, like, scripted or, like, do you know what you're gonna do for those or
I have a couple that's scripted, but
okay. So
then I'm gonna be honest, most of them, like most, the number one thing that I get asked is teach me how to paint, do painting guides, and one, my paint boot is so dirty. Like I'm gonna be honest, and shout out to Perfect Way Pinoy. He's been on the podcast. I just saw his video about his Kushatra. His paint boot is so clean. Mine looks like I don't know. It looks insane. Because it has every damn color of the rainbow like all over it. It's so dirty.
I'll
It's
just
just
turn into a brown, yeah.
yeah. It because no, I use that a lot. So I'm like, this is so visually like it's not fun to look at. So
I will tell you this, if you are doing a tutorial video, a lot of the things that are not important to what you're doing, people do not pay attention to.
that's
And
true.
like, I did spray painting videos too. Like I did some tutorials on how to paint and things like that, right? I never got comments of like, "Oh God, your booth is disgusting" and things like that. And hey, maybe I'll get some comments on my old videos now saying, "Oh God, clean your booth." But like, like unless you direct people to it, they're not going to notice it. And I think that's something that like us as builders get into a lot of the times is like if we make a mistake on a kit, we focus in on it, like, and
Yeah.
we see it,
It's
and that's the
ruined it's
only thing
ruined
we
forever.
see. It's the only thing we see. But when you put it
Need a
out,
new one.
people they don't
Mhm.
see it. And I'm kind of funny in that, like, I'll be the same person that says like, you know, oh, nobody, like, don't worry about it. Like, you're your own harshest critic. You're the only person that sees it. And I look at my kit and I'm like, I see you. I see you, you know.
That's why I
Exactly.
don't keep my
Like,
kit.
every scratch.
I start
Because
hating
you
it.
don't wanna look at it?
I hate it
Mm.
after a week. After a week, I'm just like, I don't want to look at it. Uh,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's perfect because we've been talking about content.
Mhm,
I also wanted to ask you a little bit about your studio because it looks like
mhm.
it looks pretty
Mhm.
professional in this
Mhm. Very
POV. Yeah.
familiar.
So and also we had a quick conversation before the podcast started, but you do have
Yeah.
a full rig that you recently added
Yeah.
to
People.
us.
This was actually last year. I actually started using it to like to help me level up videography. I was actually filming for other people using this rig. But this is, if anyone's a camera person, this is the Blackmagic 4K camera. Um it looks super crazy right now, and that's only because I have a bunch of things attached to it. But for the most part, it's a video camera that records in 4K. The cage around it is so I can attach things to it, like my microphone. Um, I think after lighting, this monitor is probably the second best investment when it comes to video editing, because before I would literally like I would be like building something and I'd have to go like this to see my
Mhm.
camera screen to see if it like if it's in the shot, and I'd be like, okay, I'm in the shot, and then I'd go like this. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, out of
damn
frame.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
So
yeah.
getting so like if you're getting into content creation, like, start off with what you have. But if you want to get into it, first thing to get better lighting. That's like the most important things. But
Oh,
then right
yeah.
after that, next thing to do, get a monitor. Somewhere where you can see what you're doing while you're doing it. And that has saved me so many additional like reshoots because I can see what I'm looking at.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Black Magic. I haven't heard that in a while, but back then they used to. They're like cinema cameras, so that's what I remember them as. But
Well, the biggest reason I got that was because I was actually using DaVinci Resolve for my edits, and I
yeah,
still
I
do.
use that.
But the free version of DaVinci Resolve was so good for the longest time on my channel that I was like, hey, these people deserve the money for this. So I bought one of their cameras that came with the pro version of the software. So that was
Mm.
my biggest, that was kind of like, because it was between this and the the R series. I think it was like the R5 or something like that. I was looking at one of them, but like the reason I went with this is because it was the same price, but came with the pro version of the software. And what I like about DaVinci over like things like Adobe and things like that is you buy it once, you get all of the updates from there on out. I don't pay for any new versions. It says,
Mhm.
do you want to download the new update? Yes, please.
Yeah.
F you, Adobe. Goddamn,
Ado
bro. Being a
Adobe,
Lightroom
man.
user, goddamn, bro. How many subscriptions and oh my god,
The
dude.
subscriptions.
I'm tired with the subscription with everything. Like I sort of I hate. I'm not gonna go on a rant,
No.
but
Even with yeah, we could all rant about subscriptions right now, but maybe let's not. God,
yeah, let me just pay for it
we're gonna
once.
rant now.
I don't care how much it is, and
Yeah.
then just get over
Ev
it.
literally everything.
But
Okay. Yeah, we
yeah,
can get into it later.
the
But
setup
it is
is nice.
anything that has a one price point forever
Or
is golden right now.
or
That just
even
means
just
that they
open
have yeah.
source too.
Mhm. Open source too.
Like
That's
for me, like for my photo editing, like a lot of people use Lightroom. I use GIMP. It's free,
Mm,
you know. And for the most part, like a lot of my edits, I actually don't edit my photos too much. I kind of color correct a little bit, but like
yeah.
my editing process is really
mhm.
small. And I actually learned it from Saintism. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but like I had him on my episode because he was teaching me about like his color modulation on one of the videos I did with him. But his like color editing process is actually really simple and pretty straightforward. And I kind of liked that idea of just like I don't need to super overcorrect a lot of the things. A lot of it for me is just crush in the blacks, bring down the whites, adjust a little bit of the colors here and there, and that's literally about it.
Mm,
Yeah. I
that's
mean, because it's very easy to over edit a photo,
Yeah. Hmm.
especially like the saturation or
Yep. Hmm.
um.
yeah,
So yeah, go less. Sometimes it's more.
less is more.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean the setup looks really nice. I can see. So I'm guessing you do most of your building in this room, and then you said you do your painting in the garage,
Yeah,
or
so I initially when I for if you looked at my old setup from my old videos, these are the same desks that I had. I put them off to the side because I wanted to keep them. But initially I had a booth on this desk that would just run out to the window. But
mm,
because this office is attached to like the master bedroom and my kid sleeps like right outside this office, I'm like, I'm not chancing it. I'm not letting lacquer fumes get out into the
right?
bedroom where he sleeps. So I'm gonna just move it down to the garage, no problem whatsoever, you know? And like even like if I get down to like like filming down there, you know, if I just zoom in on the booth, nobody's gonna care what the garage looks like. They're gonna look at what I'm painting, you know. And so like I think a lot of the times as we're creating content, we focus in on all of the things that don't matter, that we forget to focus on the thing that does.
Yeah.
Like,
Like the
oh, they
background,
see,
everything, like, yeah, it has to be perfect before I can even shoot this one thing, yeah.
yeah, or like, oh my God, that one piece of trash. Now I'm just like, oh, fuck, I don't care. It's in the
Yeah.
shot now.
Oh, okay, I see. I'm
Maybe
like, "I
may-
gotta retake it." Mhm.
maybe I'll make it a running joke that I'll drop a painting guide and just never drop one. So, yeah.
I will
Uh,
say though, like no matter how many tutorials are out there, me as somebody who loves watching tutorials, I will always click the next tutorial that I see. Like
yeah.
I have watched Frosted Snow's YouTube tutorials. I watch
Yes.
Gunpla all the time, you know. And I actually, for my my tutorial series that I did, I actually kind of made it more of a compliment to like Frosted Snow and a lot of the other ones that are out there. So then it's like what are the things that I wish they touched on? That's how I made my tutorial series, you know? Like, for example, one of the biggest things that I need for when I'm painting actually is paper towels. Like, yeah, because like if you're cleaning stuff out or if you need to
Yeah.
wipe stuff up, it like the last thing you want to do is start painting, you have a spill or something, and you're like, oh, what do I clean up with?
I have
You
one right
know?
next to me, like literally like right on the table.
Yep. Mhm.
So I go through them like crazy. And
So I actually for a while was using like the Scott. It's like they're not paper towels, they're like they're almost like fabric. I don't know how to
like wet
describe them. They're like
rag kind of. Yeah, I
shop
know.
like shop rags, the blue ones, the
The
blue
blue
Oh,
and the
ones,
yeah, like
yeah.
the micro not microfiber.
do not use those. They literally will put like
Those are the
particles
long
Fibers,
into your
yeah,
yeah,
fibers.
fibers into
fibers.
your paint. So I was testing out with those. Never again. They're good to just lay out on your table because they absorb a lot. But to clean your brush with, just stick to paper towels.
There you go. Painting guide done from
Painting guide done.
Plamotherapist.
All right, there we go. All you need is paper
Okay,
towels, and
Andy,
you're
where's
gonna paint
yours?
like a
Come on.
master.
No, mine.
Stop lying. Come on.
Maybe.
Just kidding.
I
It's
mean, for
okay.
the longest time, like I just didn't feel credible enough to do it. Now I still don't feel credible enough to do it, but that's also kind of a cop out answer. But also, it just I'm gonna be honest. The real answer is I'm lazy. Like I want to paint, but like I don't want to film it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but
And
Filming
literally,
it
and
does create an extra like an extra wall barrier to it, but
yeah,
sorry, what was it?
honestly, what you can do is like an easy way to do that, and I think a lot of people forget about this, is record yourself painting. Just set your camera up, record yourself painting, and then just talk over what you're doing.
I might do
And
that.
people will watch that. I guarantee you, like people will check in to see, because a lot of people, they just want to hear the knowledge. They want to just
Mm,
see it in action, you know? And
Yeah.
so a lot of the times, like you don't have to, like for me, I was talking while I was doing certain things, but like if you just do a voiceover of your painting about what you're doing when you're doing it, a lot of people will stick in and choose for that. And so for me, you know, content creation, like for early on for me, it was just like just get something out, create something, make it happen, you know? And then like now as I'm more getting more like into trying to take it more seriously, it's like, all right, let's be more mindful of how I do certain things, you know. But I always try to remind myself done is better than perfect, because if you're trying to go for perfect, you'll never get it done. So like that's kind of the philosophy that I've been with my videos. So like I
Mm.
do reshoots if I mess up like my lines and things like that, but I try not to make sure that I'm reading my script verbatim, because that will make me do like hours of reshoots.
Yeah.
I want to
Do
ask.
you keep your oh,
Mhm.
Oh wait, no, no, go ahead, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna ask, like, if you have you keep yourself, like, on a schedule of releases of videos
I
that's, like,
used
heavy.
to. I used
Mhm.
to back when it was just me, but now that like, I have a kid, I kind of just like record what I can. But now that he's starting to sleep more through the night and I have my
Mm.
nights back, what I'm starting to do now is I actually have a calendar now. It's just literally like an empty calendar. Let's see if I can grab it real quickly. Ugh. But like literally just a blank calendar. It doesn't even have dates in it, right? And I literally just kind of like write down like what am I gonna do for the day, for like the week,
Oh
things like
wow.
that. I have like checklists, you know. And it really for me, it's just because I have so many ideas. Like I have a in my Google Drive, I just have like a running list of video ideas. Like I have like at any given point, I have like 30 different video ideas. That
Mhm.
includes anything from customs to tutorials. Like one of the things that I'm eventually gonna do is get into making, like content creation tutorials, and
Mm,
for going back to what you were saying, Akro, is like I don't feel like a professional or like the credibility. It's like for me, it's like I'm not making it because I'm credible. I'm just making it because I don't
you
want people
want
to make the
people.
same mistakes I did,
Mm,
And so like I don't ever claim to be a professional. The only professional I claim to be is a counselor, because that's what I do for my job, right? But like when I teach people, when I do things for my video, I'm mostly just coming across as what would I want to tell myself before I learn these things, you know? And so like before I ever cut my first piece, like, oh hey, like don't just take your your regular nippers and right up to the piece and cut, back it off, use a side cutter to make sure it gets nice and clean, or sand off and things like that, and it's not about being the authority in the space. It's about these are the things that I wish I knew before I started. And I think if you approach all of your like how-to videos like that, a lot of people they just stick around. And so I
Mm.
think like that's again, I think there's no shortage of content on YouTube, and I think there's so much room for more creators. And I'm always happy to talk to people about the creative process and things like that. So like anyone that if and maybe more so on Instagram than YouTube, because it's easier to communicate. Like anyone that messages me on Instagram, I do full deep dives, like I do full breakdowns. I don't mind chatting, like I personally in my life, like I don't talk to a lot of people because I just do my job and I come home and I do a lot of the stuff. So when I get people messaging me on Instagram, I go off. Like you'll see paragraphs of like descriptions like, oh yeah, you should try this and this and this and this and this.
Mhm.
This is gonna happen. Don't worry, do this and this and that.
I think you're a very nurturing presence within the community. A true therapist, I would say, which is
Oh, thank you.
which is exactly what I wanted to go over next. But before we do that, I actually wanted to ask you out to a question. If you have to like read off a script for a video, how good are you with that? Because I'm so bad.
It
Like,
it depends how long. It depends on how many times I read the script as I was re-editing it. If I'm in the zone and I'm like free flowing the idea, I take a lot more retakes. But if I'm not as certain and I'm like trying to be more specific about the word choice, usually a lot of times I can read that script better.
Mm,
Okay.
you know?
I've never really had to go off like a script, but there were times when I needed to go over just certain talking points for things.
Like
Um,
like the
it
recap
takes so many
video.
takes.
Like
Yeah, it took me so many takes
the
for that. It took so many takes. And even then it wasn't that good. So it's like, it's I think, again, you're your own worst critic. You'll probably
Mhm.
just, like, be like, "Ah, I said something, like, a little wrong," or just, like, kind of flub things in a way. But yeah, dude, I'm not good. I'm not good at it. And I'm sure it comes with practice about going over things like that. But I'm also not good if there's no with those kinds of videos, if there's no framework as well. With
Mm.
like what Flamo was saying, you do a little better if there's like kind of like a general script, but not if there's a word for word, it'll take probably a lot of takes for me as well. Like anyways.
I actually write out a whole script because that helps me to organize my ideas for me
Mm,
better. I know some people
that makes
like you
sense.
said bullet points. Like initially I started doing kind of
Mhm.
bullet points. And when I was doing my own podcast by myself, I actually would do bullet points and kind of
mm,
just remind myself kind of certain things. But when I
Yeah.
do like sit down videos, like when I do like a review of certain things, I want to make sure I get a lot of the points across. So I'll do like a full script. But a lot of the times it won't be word for word, but I'll generally get the gist of each paragraph.
Okay. So, like,
Mhm.
you just write it down just so in your mind you have it. You don't, like, read from it as you're recording usually?
I will read from it
Okay.
if it's like this last review that I did, I had a lot of it was a really free flow idea because I had a lot that I really liked about the booth itself, and so I like putting everything down into words, but like to make sure I touched on certain things, I just had the script available, so I would check it as I'm kind of going through and
Okay.
then just kind of
Yeah.
put it from there. A lot of the
Mhm.
times my brain goes faster than I speak. And a lot of the times when it came to if you watch my early videos, you'll see my mouth keep up with my brain. And a lot of people are like, "You need to slow down." And there have been people like up like last month, I had somebody comment like, "Bro, you need to breathe."
Oh.
And this is a 6-year-old video, like, "Bro, you need to breathe." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, fair." But like again, seeing that progress from then to now, you know, like when I do my videos, I think my cadence has slowed down a little bit. I don't think I'm uh where I need to be, but I think it's a comfortable pace where it's still me, but it's not Eminem rap god speed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still struggling with like just talking straight to a camera. I can do like a podcast or
Mhm.
stream, like whatnot, but like if it's just me and the podcast, I start hearing the voices in my head and it starts getting hard. So,
One thing that I did is I also imagine like especially really early on is I would think of a friend that like who has never done Gunpla before, you
mm,
know, and I would pretend like the camera is that person and I would talk to them
mm,
about and that started to help me to slow down a lot because at first it's just like
Mhm.
you're in your room, it's completely quiet and there's a camera in front of you and that is the most daunting thing when you're just starting out. And so for me, it was learning that like, oh, think about a friend that you want to teach this to. Like, it doesn't matter if they're interested or not, but if you were to teach it to them, imagine that camera is the person you're going to teach and talk to them. Don't
Mhm.
preach to them. Don't give your speech to them. Talk to them.
Mhm.
And that really started to help me kind of slow things down.
that's so
Yeah.
true. Cause like the recent video I made about like, cause I was like acting, like I was talking to my hater, and that was the easiest video I've made. That was the easiest video I filmed. Now I think about it. So yeah.
Because
Well,
I think because thinking about who you're talking to gets you out of your own brain too. You're starting to
right.
That's
override
true.
your own processes. And this is the psychology in me. It's just like you
Yeah.
start to override your own self-doubts because you don't have the bandwidth to think of who you're talking to and then your self-doubts on top of that.
Mhm. It's like having a conversation versus a
Yeah.
speech. So, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I was I think the hardest thing for me when trying to talk to a camera or even, like, streaming or anything like that is you do need to talk, right? And I'm
Yeah.
more of a quieter person usually. More so because I'm just more like, "Oh, they don't need to hear that from me. It's okay." Kind of, or like, "Oh, they probably already know." or I just don't like expand on what I'm thinking too much, just because it's more like who am like feeling preachy is one of those things where like I don't want to I don't want to feel like that to anybody. So I think yeah, definitely getting into your own head about those
Mhm.
things too. Yeah,
I
can
think one
can
thing
be a
that I
lot.
was doing when I was learning like about like Twitch and streaming like that is I would watch a lot of other streamers and I would watch like old videos from them. And a
Mm.
lot of the times what come across is that they would say the same thing 4 or 5 different times across 4 or 5 different streams. And it's like,
Yeah.
for me, it was always like, why? Why are you saying this thing over? And I'm like, oh, because they have new people in their audience. They're gonna have to
Mm.
reiterate these things. So like a
Yeah.
lot of times when I hear people saying like, "Oh, I don't think we want to hear it," I'm like, "Nah, just tell them because you got new people that this might be their first time coming in, so they've never heard this from you."
Mhm. Even then, it's, I guess with streaming, like, the people who even are there regularly, they're not there the
Mhm.
whole stream. So then you'll
Yeah.
probably have to repeat the same thing that you said 30 minutes ago, the next 30 minutes to make sure, like, the people if it's something you wanna get across, 'cause it's
Listen
like,
to
"Oh,
me.
yeah, you weren't
Listen
listening
to
to me.
me.
God, I'm saying the thing." So, yeah, that happens a lot, or I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you're my" like, I see you a lot, but you're not, like you have to like, they're not there the whole video. It's not the same with, like, you like, content other YouTuber things where they're sitting down kinda listening to, like, the whole thing, you know? Yeah, it's different. Yeah, repeating yourself a lot is it's a fun stream time. You go over.
But
And if anything, you can have people do a counter. How many times have they said it this stream?
I know, then they'll have, like, a little tally, and that's fun. Let's all take a shot while that happens.
you know, people are just gonna rage bait you,
I know. It's fun.
uh, but yeah, going back to
Mhm, going back.
name and of course being
Mhm,
a
Oh, yeah.
therapist, you did mention how you want to talk a little bit about mental health within the Gunpla
mhm,
scene. This is a topic that we haven't really talked too much, or we definitely haven't talked in depth about in the
mhm.
podcast. So I wanted to see, what your opinion and what your take is on the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I love
so
having you because like, you're obviously more qualified to talk about these kinds of things than, so, yeah, I'm excited.
and yeah, so for me, like, my background is I got my master's degree in counseling psychology, and one of the classes that I took was about like holistic, like therapy and things like that. And a lot of the things that he was talking about was like meditative practices. And so for me, I was like, when we did this class, I'm like, meditation, I'm like, oh, that just like hurt my soul, right? But what eventually I learned was that like the meditation is about taking your mind out of all of the other things that are going on in your life, taking your mind off of all of the stressors and just focusing in on the present. And it was kind of like a weird revelation to me going through my program. That's what Gunpla did. And for me, it was because like I couldn't just sit there and meditate. I needed a little bit of stimulation, right? And so I think for some people, like you need a little bit of something to kind of distract you to get your brain to clear. And so what I started to teach, like I started to talk about is how Gunpla can be used as a sort of therapeutic tool, to be a way to help you to take your mind off of your stress for a minute, take your mind off of all of the things that are bothering you, give your brain a literal break, right? And the science behind it is that, like, if you stop thinking, if you stop stressing for a little bit, you take some time to calm down, your brain will literally clear out a lot of the cortisol that has built up in there. And cortisol is your stress hormone. And so, by sitting down and building and not thinking about the things that are happening and just focusing in on your builds, that literally gives you time for your brain to clean out, and something as little as like 30 minutes a day can make a huge difference across your span of your life. Now, I will say that, this isn't a replacement to therapy itself. Like if you need to talk to somebody, I always encourage people to go talk to somebody. But what's really going to make a big difference in your life is if you start to do the little things day to day, that's going to make you healthier. And I always try to compare it to physical health, right? You know, if you eat a lot of junk food and you don't work out, you're sedentary, you get fat, you get out of shape, right? It's the same thing as if you're taking a lot of stress on, you're not doing anything to clear it out, and you let that build up into your body, you start to feel it, it starts to weigh down on you, right? And so what do doctors recommend is the best and healthiest thing for you? Diet and exercise. And it's not telling you to go see a doctor every little problem that you have. It's about the day-to-day maintenance things that you can do to minimize the long-term effects of whatever physical ailments that you have. And the same thing can be applied to mental health, right? What are the things that you do day in and day out to take care of your own mental health that allows you to be more present day to day, that gives you the time to recover after traumatic events or even just stressful days, you know? What are the things that you do in your life that's the equivalent to diet and exercise for your physical health for your mental health? And so for me, if I were to say, like, the exercise is the same thing as building Gunpla. The diet part of mental health is actually going to be your sleep. So the big thing I always recommend people when it comes to building Gunpla is don't let Gunpla get in your way of your sleep. Try to schedule some time, at least 30 minutes. I try to say, you know, every a couple days or so. If you can get it in daily, great. If not, try to just get it in as much as possible. If you're really focusing in on just using it for therapy, I'd say limit it to about 45 minutes a day. And if you want, we can go a little bit more in depth into that. But, you know, if you're building for fun, like if you're not using it as a therapeutic tool and you just want to kind of get in the zone, get into flow state, you know, go as long as you want to go. But for me, I always recommend if you're building for a long period of time, I encourage people to choose a time to stop. Don't let the hobby tell you when to stop, right? Don't
Mm.
stop because you're exhausted. Don't stop because, you know, like things are starting to get frustrating and you're, you know, you we want to take a break from it, right? Choose a time to stop because what ends up happening is the overall experience that you have with that hobby in that amount of time ends on a positive note. So the next time you sit down, right, the overall like rating of how much you enjoy the hobby stays high versus if you start to like build and burn out and you start to come out of that flow state, your overall satisfaction is coming down. And because that coming down was the last thing your body remembers,
Yeah.
it kind of takes a little bit of a while to get back up into it. So for a lot of people, I always recommend, you know, if you're short on time, try to get build time as much as you can in, you know, limit it to 45 minutes a day if you can. If you have the time to build and you have hours to go through it, have fun with it, but choose a time, stay in control of the hobby. Don't let the hobby control you.
Oh, give this man a Grammy. What a speech.
What?
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm,
I don't even know what to add to that. That was wow. But yeah, no, I think that's a very positive way to look at this hobby. I think it's a very unique way to look at it because, you know, I don't think maybe a lot of people before this podcast uh wouldn't think Gunpla as a form of therapy, as you mentioned, you
mhm,
know what I mean? A form of healing. Um which yeah, for sure. Like I agree because I it's weird to say, but I don't really think when I'm doing Gunpla. It just feels natural. And I think if you do this hobby long enough, you get to a point where it's just like you get your routine and it's just,
mhm,
you know, you just turn off your brain. A lot of
Mhm.
times, like, you can just put, like, play something, like, play a video and you can watch that
mhm,
and just build. And I think that's like a
yeah,
perfect point of the hobby where
mhm.
you can truly relax. Like, you know, I'm just a rock basically when I'm building. I'm zen.
Exactly.
So,
That's
Uh-huh.
what your brain needs. That's what it needs in
Mhm,
order to clear out, you know? And if like
exactly.
if you had a shit day, you know, but you know that you have some time to build that evening, your day it automatically starts to feel
It's so
better when
nice.
you
Yeah.
remember, "Oh, I can build
That
tonight. Oh, I
light.
can do this tonight." That light, yeah, that
Mhm.
light at the end of the
At
tunnel
the end
for
of
a
the tunnel.
terrible day.
Uh-huh. Yeah. For me too, it's like, anytime I'm having, like, a rough stint of days or just maybe not even, like, a row of days, just one rough day, the only things that my mind wants to do is build, honestly. Like, that's like because sometimes a lot of times, what you'll gravitate to might be just, like, brain off, scrolling your phone, but sometimes that doesn't even do it, and it's just building. That's all that will do it. Because there's honestly a weird bubble of zen that goes around you when you're able to build without thinking about anything else, which is why with, Gundam and content creation, it can get rough, and I can see, like, why you would I needed to take a break after a little bit too, and I was like, "I need to just build without filming it or thinking about anything or streaming it." Like, I just need to do it because honestly, like, that bubble of yeah, what you're talking about when your brain's off, when you're not thinking about anything, something about having those instructions as well as just, like, being able to, like, get into that flow state is so nice. But then also something I was wanting to ask, like, when you were talking about that is with the having a time, like you set your own time where you're
Yeah.
able to where the hobby doesn't tell you to do it, you do it.
Mhm.
That feels difficult just because when you're in the flow state, you don't wanna leave it, right? You leave
Mhm.
it when you're frustrated. For me, that's
Yeah.
when I leave.
Yeah, that
I
And a
don't
lot
know.
of the times
I
it's
don't
not
wanna
so
leave
much
when I'm in
about
the flow.
finding an end time while you're in it.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of times it's about before you sit down to start, design just kind of pick about a rough end time. Like,
Okay.
oh, I'm gonna stop after I finish this part or this section.
Okay.
I'm going
Mhm.
to do these decals and then be done, right? And
Okay. Yes.
this is more so for like if you know that you are the person to go until you burn yourself out, this can help you to protect that a little bit more.
Mhm.
Because not everybody is going to build the same. Like Akro builds like a maniac by cutting it out and putting it together like a jigsaw puzzle.
Oh,
But
me with
that's
the
what works for him.
kids. Yeah.
That's what works for him. And if that's the therapy that he needs, beautiful. I would not put that down because that's what he needs. I joke about it calling it wild, but in all
I
honesty, in the spirit of it.
I realized how wild it was because the Elysius, the chicken
Yeah.
is out of frame.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of parts. I cut out everything before I put it together, and I just laid it down, and I was like,
Yeah.
"This probably is. This looks insane." I had my
So
first
I
moment.
How'd that go? Yeah.
so
I
I did
Was it
that
good?
with the silver bullet suppressor. Are you familiar with that kit?
I'm actually doing the Dolan Wolf, which is very similar to that. But yes, yeah, the silver bullet
So
suppressor.
I did that without looking at the instructions. I didn't even really pay attention to the box art at all,
Mm, mm,
or like any of the art on the sides of it. I threw everything, I opened it, I put all the runners out, and I just started kind of trying to figure things out. And if
mm.
you don't know, this thing has like 6 arms on its
Yep.
back. And I'm losing my mind. I'm like, why are there so many arms in this thing?
Yeah.
Why? So I'm just
Is
like,
there
I'm like, all right, I guess I'm just building arms then. But it just like it blew my mind that like you could build a kit without looking, without like just like following the instructions. Like for me, I like to jump around. I do uh chest, weight, chest, head, arms, waist, legs, and then
Okay.
accessories, right? And in my for me, it's like, oh, it gets to watch me as I'm putting it together. But
I,
like I know it's like some people like they go page by page, and but like for them that's what they need, right? Is they need a little bit of like I just need something to tell me what to do and do it.
yeah.
Did you start off building like that, or did you start with page by page?
I started page by page, and then as I got
Okay.
more comfortable with building, I'm like, I want to start at the waist, right?
Mhm.
Then I want to do the head, then I want to do the arms. I think one of the only kits that I broke policy for that was the new Gundam and the high new because I started with the fin funnels.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, the fin
oh,
funnels.
oh. Yeah, the way I
Um,
do it is I cut out everything. I look for the biggest part, and then I'm like, okay, where did this go? And then I just get because I want to get rid of it, the big parts out of the pile.
I
So
wanna get
whatever,
rid of this.
like, because
Mhm.
I'm gonna be honest, it looks crazy when you first have like 1,000 pieces just sitting on your desk, all cut out, and it's just
Hmm.
everywhere. So I try to like, okay, let me get the big pieces out the way, and then eventually we'll start running out, and then it will. There's small parts. But I don't recommend my method of building. The more I think about it, it's like really not smart because if
No.
something goes missing, you're screwed, and you will not know until the end. But I think for me, it's just a faster way to do it. I think it's an effective way to do it, but it's high
Mhm.
I
risk,
think
high
like I
reward.
think one of your other
Oh, for
episodes you mentioned it. It's a really good way for if you're gonna paint it, especially if you know
Yeah,
you're gonna paint it. It's super efficient to just have them already ready to go because then it's like you're not putting it together, then taking it apart, and then breaking it apart into sections for paint. It's just
yeah,
like, all right, white, gray, blue, red,
yeah.
whatever. Super efficient. So I would say like,
Mhm.
we harp on it for a little bit, but realistically, yeah, it makes sense. And I apologize for my dog.
uh, actually, this is a question that was asked last week that
Yeah.
on the episode that will be released tomorrow. But we want to ask, what's your opinion about burnout?
Yeah, I burnt out myself. I think it's a legitimate thing, and I think for me, part of the burnout has to do with like I was trying to make content even though I wasn't like my whole heart wasn't in it. I wanted to make things because I needed to keep up for the algorithm appeasement. I think a lot of people for burnout from the psychology side of it is that they start putting expectations on the hobby. And when the hobby doesn't meet that expectation, right, that's when people start to get frustrated with it. And then it's the idea of, oh, I can build today. I'm going to feel a lot better. But they sit down, like, hope, like, already with that mindset of this is going to make me feel better. And then when the build isn't as smooth or it isn't as, um, like it isn't as like easygoing as they wanted it to, it's starting to frustrate them, right? And then they start to stress out because they're like, wait, this is supposed to make me feel better. Why do I feel worse? And then, like I said, when it comes to people who build a long period of time and that like energy level comes down, right? As like they've been building for a longer period of time, when they are in that frustration and they get up and they walk away, that negative feeling is still there, and they
Mm.
don't address that. It sits in their mind because it's like that thing was supposed to be therapeutic, but it wasn't. Now, what do I do with that? Right. And so, what I tell people, like, if they're starting to feel that way, yes, walk away, take a break, right? But then process that feeling, process that thought. I wasn't frustrated at the kit. I came into it with this expectation that my build time was going to do X, Y, or Z, right? I have to remind myself that I'm just here to enjoy the process as it goes, right? If you don't put those expectations on you, you're not going to set yourself up for failure. Again, come into this hobby just like this is to be helpful, right? And as long as you focus in on just like enjoying the hobby for what it is and not putting those expectations on it, you're gonna have a higher likelihood of not burning out. But once you start putting things like if like conditionals on your hobby, that's the quickest way to burn out.
Jay, are you
Mm.
listening? uh, it's yeah, because I don't get burnout with
Mhm.
Gunpla at all. But our other co-host, Jay, gets burnout 24/7. I don't know when he's not. Eunha is, I
Mhm.
think, Eunha and Ryan would be in the normal middle category where occasionally you get burnout, but they're still looking forward to build.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't think I get burnt out with Gundam, really. I get burnt out with making content on Gundam
Mhm.
sometimes, is all. That's it. For in like, I mean, I haven't been making content or building as much or as long as you guys have, but in my experience, that's what, yeah, been going
Yeah,
on.
yeah. The additional layer of content creation definitely puts a lot higher stress. And so like one of the other things that I mentioned is like if you haven't heard, it's called the Yerkes-Dodson law of arousal, where the more stress that you have, the higher your performance goes to a point, and then when you pass that point, additional stress starts to decrease performance, right? And so when you add the layer of content creation on top of building, you're starting at a higher point of stress, and then as you're going through it, you pass the point of your peak performance and you start to deteriorate because you're like overstressed, overworked, and that starts to cause problems, with the hobby. And
Okay.
again,
Mhm.
you don't think about the content creation side as the problem. You just start to think of the whole thing as a problem, and that lumps in the
Mhm.
Gunpla with it together. So that makes it hard to get back into the content creation space or making Gunpla, because then you're like, oh, now I got to think about the camera, and it's like I don't want to deal with that, so then you
Yeah.
end up not doing
Mhm.
it.
Exactly. Wait, sorry, what was the concept name
Yerkes
that you said?
Dodson law of arousal.
Okay. Yeah.
So
uh,
if you look at it, it's performance on the y-axis, stress on the x-axis. As stress
Mhm.
increases, performance goes up. Then you get to a peak point, that's the highest,
and
and
then
then
it
as
drops.
stress continues, and then it starts to go down again.
Drops. Okay.
Yeah, we learned something similar for flight too. But yeah, it totally makes sense. But I will say, like, if you're Jay, if you're listening to this, but I'm joking. But like, if if you do feel really burnt out about building,
Mhm,
and let's say you're not,
Mhm.
you don't build often, or you build on a normal level, and you still feel burnt out,
mhm,
sometimes I think the objective is wrong. Um, a lot of people just build because this is a product they can make content out of.
mhm,
I will say it is a very dangerous approach to have, especially with this
mhm,
hobby that requires a
mhm,
lot of patience, a lot of work, and a lot of growing. You
mhm,
genuinely need to have a love for building, uh, or else you're just gonna get burnt out. You can
yeah.
still like build. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can just be a content creator first, but you'll be much more likely to get burnout because I myself, I always just think about I don't have enough time in this damn life to be able to do everything I want with Gunpla, right?
Mhm,
And so I never feel burnout. Instead, I'm just like I'm always excited that the little amount of time I have, I can, you know what I mean? Like, so that's why I wake up at 7 a.m., 6 a.m. to go paint in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, so,
Mm.
Baller, baller. That's the game right there.
yeah.
Love of the
So,
game.
I lower the game. You kind of have to have that.
Yeah.
So, um, but
I
yeah,
think one other thing too that I recommend for people that are burning out is, you don't have to only have one hobby.
mhm,
You know?
Yeah,
Like, I
exactly.
think
It can
one of the things that I say is, like, I generally recommend 3. I say 1 for physical, 1 for, creative and mental, and then 1 for social, you know? And you can have some that overlap, right? Like, if you like, let's say you play, like, a team sport, right? That can be, like, your physical and your social, right? Gunpla can't really be your social because, like, the activity itself is pretty, like, independent,
mm,
right? But like if you stream and that can be your social, if you like the stream aspect of it, that could be it. But a lot of the times what I say is, get a couple hobbies, put them into rotation because if you're tired of one, you still have another way to have an outlet when one isn't quite working or you need a break from one or the other.
yeah. I have everything. My exercise is walking to my paint station, but yeah,
I was like, Danny, what are your 3? I, like, looked at you, I was like, "What would be your other 2?"
Okay, I
I
do
guess
socialize a good amount. You know what I mean? Actually, I don't know. Ooh, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not much of a socializer. I think it just has to do with me being an
I like
only
to mess with
child.
him. He's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
it's
fine.
fine. It's fine. No, I totally agree. But
Mhm.
I don't. I'm not much of a socializer in the sense that like online. It's very hard for me to do it online. I'm getting used to it. But number one thing, I hate texting. It's my main thing. I'm not on my phone a lot. I wish we went back to like flip phones. You know what I mean? Or like phone lines. Like I'm
So
much
nice.
prefer that. I don't like the texting thing, but all of Instagram is texting.
It just takes a long time to it'll take, like, double the amount of time to plan anything through texting than you could just phone call
Yeah.
and, like, figure it out in 10 minutes. Yeah.
You
So
know what I will say is, who I think is actually really good at countering that is Danger Mike, because he'll send voice
yeah, he does.
messages
He does. He
a
does.
lot. And like I think that's like kind of a cool way to bridge that gap between texting and messaging
Hmm.
because you get the social aspect of communicating with them via chat and you get the
Mhm.
inflections, you get the
Yeah.
nonverbal
Yeah.
communications through just the voice itself, or I guess maybe not nonverbal, but you get the additional context
Mhm.
of how things are said, not just what is said.
Shout out to
Exactly.
Danger Mike.
I know, right? Big guy, love the guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a ray of sunshine within the community.
It
As
really is.
yeah, a lot of hate recently going on, but the community is wishy washy right now. But
I say there's haters in every community,
yeah,
and like I get people like in my videos. Look, my videos are literally just to help people, and I get
right,
people with like hate comments. It's just like, all right, cool, and that goes for any hobby, any activity
yeah,
there's out there. There's gonna be gatekeepers, there's gonna be haters, there's just gonna be terminally upset people, and so I just say,
Yeah.
they exist, whatever.
Exactly. I
I
don't have the energy to deal with this right now.
I
Mhm.
for me, it low key like made me kind of happy. I'm not gonna lie. So I was
And why
like,
do you low-key happy when you get to, like, battle people?
like they're like
Jenny.
they like give me shit, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm making it
Okay.
up. You know what I mean? I'm getting recognition if I have haters. And number two, okay, I'm sorry, but like this I don't know how to put this like in a nice way. I grew up with like Asian parents. I grew up with negative reinforcement all my life. I've been told
Oh,
no
yeah.
all my life. I grew up, in South America, like as a
You're the
Asian kid.
opposite of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna be honest, there's nothing you can say that I haven't been told, and two, like, it fuels me. Like being told no, being told you suck, like that thing, it just motivates me more. So keep it up, brother. I keep
Okay, so don't make a painting video.
I
You
don't think that's
can't
how
do
it
it.
works. I don't think that's how it works.
I don't
I
think it'll
will say
work
though,
out
like
for me.
majority of my contents are good. Like majority of the people are just
Of the
thankful
Yeah.
for the
community,
con
yeah.
for the content. Again,
Mhm.
every once in a while you'll get one person that makes like the most out of left field comments, but most of the time I end up laughing because it's just like out of that entire video,
Right.
that's the thing you
That's what
focused on.
you're doing. Yeah.
Out of a beautiful jungle has mosquitoes. You know what I mean? Just swat them away. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, There's my stupid ass metaphor for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was definitely actually
No, for
we
sure.
might ask
What
you to come back because
uh
I want you to do a full therapy session with Jay. Unfortunately, he was not able to be
He's
here.
not here because he's sick,
I would
but,
love to watch
um,
this.
well
I think if I were to meet with Jay, I think we would do a hot takes video.
yeah.
Ooh,
I could see that.
I
But
will be there. I'll watch that.
sorry, going back to burnout, one more
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
know a lot of people are dealing with it, not just in Gunpla, but just in general life. Do
Mhm,
you have like, what tools would you say for people to get out of that? Because I know, like, when I've been through burnout, not
mhm,
just like, just life it's hard to, like, get up kind of feeling when
mhm,
you're truly just tired and kinda worked to the bone, or you feel like you are.
mhm.
What would be your advice or, like, kind of
Tommy
the
cement.
tools you would say?
Yeah,
Tell me a
and
cement, just sniff it, just and get going.
No, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm,
I think the a lot of the times what I see when people are like so down, they're always so in their head. Like when you think about somebody who is really just like they're burnt out, they're at the end of their rope, they're exhausted, a lot of the times it's they don't get out of their own head, you know? And so most the easiest way for people to get out of their own head, honestly, and they say go touch grass, but really it's just go get your heart pumping, like go do something that gets your heart going and gets your mind away from those things. Like Gunpla is great because it gets your mind off of these things, but if you get the added benefit of exercising in it, you get the endorphins from working out, you get the endorphins from your heart rate going up. That's really going to be a big thing that's going to help people. And so that could be the start. And a lot of the times what I talk about when it comes to therapy is what are the things you can do day to day to help build those habits to help you come out of it. So the big thing is get some exercise, go do something fun, go do something that gets your heart rate. If you go for a walk, if you go for a jog, if you just, if you're somebody that has like a more like a hobby that maybe you do indoors, like photography, like go outside and try to take your hobby elsewhere. Go out and go take pictures elsewhere, but just find ways to get outside of the routine that has got you so locked down. It's just break that cycle any way that you can. And then once you do start breaking that cycle, and the next thing is, okay, if I can break it this way, what are the other things that I can do to break that cycle in other aspects of my life? So if I can get out and exercise, right? Can I go join a club? If I get out and exercise, maybe I have energy now to go do some other things. But a lot of the times it's just do something to break the cycle so that so you break that idea that you're trapped.
Amen. Yeah, this is the smartest podcast
yeah.
we've had ever. Like,
No, I thought your podcast with Dr. Feelgood was good, and there were things that I was like, oh yeah, I love this dude.
yeah, y'all two together would be like a real interesting episode too. That
I think the
He's a
room would
doctor. I'm
implode.
not up there with that.
would.
I think the room would implode if they were in the same one together. It would just be I don't know, the wisdom is too much.
Yeah, there was but no, I mean that's a lot of helpful advice. Hopefully, for people who are listening,
Resonates, yeah.
that can help you. Because at the end of the day, this hobby should
Mhm.
be a positive. I think
Mhm,
that's
Yeah.
and
And, like, especially in, like, our modern day world, a lot of things, a lot of companies, a lot of just everything is kinda working to keep you more isolated in a
mhm.
way. Just yeah, so just finding ways to get out and breaking it, I understand, because things can feel lonely these
And
days,
I
for
and to
sure.
kind of counteract that too is like even with the isolation, what I love about this hobby is that this hobby teaches you to be okay by yourself. It teaches you to be okay with yourself. And so
Mhm.
if you can be okay on your own, doing your own thing, not worrying about other people, you're unstoppable because now you don't care about what other people think. You don't care about what other people do. You know that you have something that you're fully in control of and that
Mhm.
something that nobody else can take away from you.
Yeah, like, being your own good company, like, what more can you what more can
Right?
you want? Mhm.
I love being alone. Like,
I do too. Maybe a little too much sometimes, but
boy,
yes.
boy, my
Well, I
spirit
can sense
animal is
feelings.
a rock because I just want to be about.
Yo,
Yeah,
rocks are usually together, what are you talking about?
that's true. Never mind. But I don't know. But yeah, I know. But yeah. I mean,
What is
hopefully that helps out a lot of people. But
yeah.
and before we go, we
Mhm.
definitely we ask the same questions everyone. But do you have any content that you want to make in the future? What can the viewers expect to see from you?
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, was that I want to get into showing people how to get into content creation with videos. Like, for example, simple motion for your
Mhm.
videos, like how to record certain things. That's something that I had to learn from like YouTube videos for like other people doing for other types of videos, but bringing it in specifically to this hobby is something that I want to do. So, like, I want to teach people, how to get some of like those cinematic movements in their videos. And it's not about just like, even real quickly, it's not about just turning your hand with your phone, but if you shift your body, right, that's already going to make it 10 times smoother. And if you do it with your legs and you shift your body with your camera, that's going to make it just even more smoother without needing to get a gimbal, without needing to buy an expensive camera. It's just like something you can do, something you can save money with, that can already level up some of your content. And it's just things that I've learned that people like I wish I had when I first started, or things that I wish I knew when I was getting into these things. So it's just putting information out there, because I just love helping people, teaching people. Because if you can find something that you enjoy, I want to make sure that you can enjoy it to your fullest. I'm just the biggest hype man. If you tell me that you're gonna go like start a YouTube channel, I will be there to sit down with you and say, let's go over a game plan together. If they're saying that you want to start a business, I'm going to be like, send me your link, I'll be your first customer. Because I want to see people succeed, because the more everyone succeeds, the more happy everyone is. And if everyone else is happier, the world is just a better place.
Protect this man at all
Agreed.
costs.
Agreed. Agreed.
But yeah,
Yeah.
throw whatever you said on the back of a t-shirt and sell that, because preach.
No, yes. Sure.
But yeah, no,
That's so
we're
good.
definitely excited to see that.
Mhm.
Whoop, I think you'll be back. I think
I'd be honored if I came back. I'm
no,
so thankful, even just to be here today. I'm super thankful,
just
and I know
just
we talked about this before, before we started. It was like I was nervous coming here, but like I saw, like, because like watching your videos before, it's like, oh, I'm gonna meet some celebrities. So I'm just like, oh, getting some jitters. So like, honestly,
Oh.
it's the honor is mine to be here.
no, we're not
No.
celebrity. But no, I think it'll be fun to see you back, especially also talk to the other two problematic people we have on this podcast. So I think it'll be nice. Also complete different vibes. This is a lot more chill episode. I think
Yeah.
this
When
this
it's
would
us two, Danny, I think it's a little more chill usually.
yeah, a
Sure,
lot more
yeah.
tame, a lot more
Uh-huh.
civil.
Mhm. I mean, we could have more of this stuff.
Uh,
Do you hear that?
no, thank
Oh,
What
God,
is
okay.
that?
That's good.
but it's fine. But yeah, thank
Yeah.
you
Bruh.
again. Oh gosh, here we go.
There it is.
But thank you again for taking your time.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is goes on for a little bit. I pushed it and I immediately regretted it.
Well, there's the chaos y'all been waiting for,
Okay.
right at the end.
There
But
you go.
yeah, thank
At
you.
least she has the right name
But
this
yes,
time.
thank you so much for your time.
No, honestly, the pleasure is mine. Again, I
Yeah.
appreciate just the opportunity to just share kind of the things that I want to do. So just again, thanks for sharing your platform with me. I appreciate that.
It's crazy because I have so many more questions, but again, time is limited sometimes, but
Message me and we'll make a whole
thank you so much.
message me and we'll
We'll
make a
do
whole
part two. We'll
another
do
whole
part
video.
two. We'll
Yeah,
do
make a
part
part
two
Part
and
two.
part three. But
See, this
yeah,
guy, he's like, don't talk outside of the podcast. No messaging.
yeah, I'm getting yelled at. But before I get yelled at even more, that will be it for today's episode. Thank you
Yeah,
everyone for joining us for today. Thank you Plamotherapist for joining us as well. If you want to
Mhm.
check out all of his socials, it will be linked down in the description below, as well as all the
Mhm.
links to all of the crew. Even though two of us are not here, but still they get promo as well. So
Even then,
that'll be it for today's episode, and I'll see you on the next one.
thank you
Bye.
for
Thank you guys
watching.
so much.
Bye.